Good morning, everyone. Give me 1 second. Alrighty. Let's get these clothes over here. I got laundry to fold. Hey, Jessica, what's up, love? So I just talked to the attorneys. I just talked to the process server. Homegirl should be getting served today or tomorrow. I hope she doesn't try to avoid that serve. It's not gonna look good. It's not gonna look good. Just accept your serve, babe. Accept your serve. Because the courts, especially here in Arizona, the courts really don't like it when people try to avoid being served. Y'all know Outspoken tried to do that. She tried to avoid being served. And the judge she said, I'm going to give you one more chance to give her. But with this, it's different. The stalking injunction is different than a lawsuit. Most judges don't want to go ahead with the case, with the injunctions, because they want to give the other person a chance to, show their side. But lawsuits, babes, if you avoid a lawsuit serve, 9 times out of 10, they're just going to give that lawsuit to the person, to the plaintiff. So it's in her best interest to get this settled as quickly and as soon as possible. Because the more money and the longer it goes on, the more court fees and attorney fees she would have to pay once she loses. Because it's not if she loses, it's once. Because we have on court record that 4 different judges said that I never said those things. And the friend that you are trying to defend also stated several times that she never asked you to make the video, and she never said that I was going to unalive her. She said that you made that up. So it's in your best interest. I already told you my negotiating terms. I'm starting off at $1,000 and a retraction. I think that's a fair deal. Every day that I don't hear a response, we will go up $500. So today we're at $1,500. And we can go up to the 10,000. So I'm really still trying to give you an olive branch here. Right? So every day we don't hear a response, every day you don't contact my attorneys or the courts, we're just going to add $500 to the settlement. And it might get to a point where I don't even want to settle no more. You just pay me the whole 10,000. So somebody asked a great question on one of my posts. Also, guys, if you want to see up to dates, make sure you're following Ward of the State, Life of Karlos. I won't be doing a whole lot of updates on here. There is a whole playlist on the Life of Karlos. Jacob didn't do enough to be sued. Olivia did. So, Jacob, if you're watching this, you're in the clear. You didn't do enough to be sued. And honestly, what did you do? You didn't do nothing. But Olivia Benson, you did. Because if you guys remembered, Olivia said that I lied about my entire story. She said I lied about being in foster care. She said I lied about my book. Now, when you have someone who has a copyright, this is why y'all shouldn't be fucking around with laws. When you have someone who has a copyright, and then you're going to say that something that I own and I have copywritten is a lie. I'm not suing Olivia. My company is actually suing Olivia because me personally, she didn't say anything about me. She said something about my company. And she said that my company was fake and that we published a fake story. So that was published. That's defamation to my company. I've always told you guys that I was covered through my LLC. We also have liability insurance ourselves. I haven't just been doing this work without liability insurance. I hope you motherfuckers have liability insurance. Why do you think I felt so comfortable doing the stories that I did back when I was covering stories? It wasn't just because a lot of you bitches think that it's just like, oh, I'm covering a story and I can't be sued. You fucking can be sued. You can and will be sued. The reason why I was never sued when I was covering stories is, one, I never made any accusations that I didn't already have concrete proof of. Every single time. That's why we never use the word alleged or allegedly or this is alleged. Because the shit I was talking about before I opened my fucking mouth, me and my team had concreted that shit. We had concreted that shit. I was like, I'm not even going to make a mishap. Right? But not you people. Y'all just go off of the vibes and feelings. But no, yeah, Miss Olivia. Miss Olivia is one of them. Yes, she is. She is one of them. So I've decided I have until January to hit all of y'all. So I'm probably going to do like one a month because, that's emotionally what I could handle with me and my team, legally and financially. We'll hit one a month. We got this month. Next month is June, which is right around the corner. We already got our next one. I think y'all, it's pretty obvious who's the second one. Get your pockets ready. Get your attorneys ready. Y'all had all that mouth. I was silent since December. I didn't say anything. I just wished for it to go away. I just wanted to be left alone, and you guys refused to. You guys sat there and you had lives after lives after lives. You guys posted video after video after video, trying to tarnish my name, trying to tear me down. Keep that same energy, Karen. Why y'all all quiet now? Why are y'all all quiet now? Also, a few of y'all have been on live literally using stories from my experience, which is copywritten. I fully regret not. Listen, you're probably mutuals and friends with a few of them. You're probably mutuals. Yeah, so the people who are hosting lives using my copywritten information and content, we're coming after y'all too, because bitch, that shit's copywritten. I own it. Yeah, you probably is. Be easy, be careful. Girl, you swimming with piranhas. Well, I don't know your pronouns, but girl, I just say girl for everybody. You swimming with piranhas. You swimming with piranhas. And here's the thing. I don't think that these people are dumb, Carpuzzi. I think that they don't actually understand that online is real life. And I hope that you guys are starting to kind of see that, right? I think in 2020, and I even participated in it. And in 2020, 2021, 2022, I would say shit on the internet that I would never say to a person's face. I stopped that shit back in 2023 because, bitch, if you're going to say it on the internet, you might as well be ready to take the consequences in real life, right? Right? You might as well be ready to take the consequences in real life. So I hope you guys have seen over the last 2 years that these all have consequences, and maybe it's not. And here's the issue. The internet loves immediate gratification, right? With the laws, with legal systems, it's going to be a slow burn. It's going to be a slow burn. I just got contacted by an investigator from a police report I made in March. And they're like, hey, Mr. Dillard, yeah, we finally got to this, and we believe you're right. Yeah, bitch, I knew I was right back in March. Now investigate and arrest the bitch. So, and I'll be honest. For me to do this, I had to really detach myself from being trauma-informed, because none of this is trauma-informed. I had to detach myself from caring about other humans because they did not care about me. They did not care about my family. They didn't care about my niece. They didn't care about anyone. They used it as fodder and entertainment. It was not easy for me to go file suits against other adoptees who I know are poor. That wasn't easy. But at the end of the day, accountability is there. At the end of the day, they harmed me at a point that's, I was talking to my husband about this morning. We're at Lowe's. Do y'all realize this wasn't just like, do you realize once that accusation came out, I had to call the police on myself? Did y'all realize that? Because the way that she said that is, that's a federal crime, right? Right? It's called premeditated second degree murder. What if, and I'll tell you, when the police came to my house, the only reason they were so nice to me, it was because we already had several police reports against Homegirl. We had already had several police reports. We already had an injunction ongoing, right? So when they came to my house, I said, hey, this is what it is. These people just made this completely up. Here's the first court date. We have a court date set on the 24th. They're doing this to enrage people to try to get some clout, but it's a serious allegation. And they say, yes, it's very serious. Did you guys ever wonder why I was never investigated for premeditated murder? Because I called, as soon as I saw the fucking video, I called the police myself. Had them come to my house and I said, hey, look, listen, this is all attached. And they said, absolutely, Mr. Dillard, we already knew that. We already knew that. Because little known to y'all, they called my local police. Multiple people called my local police saying that I was going to murder someone. Now, I told y'all about this app months ago. The 911 app, I think I told you guys about it. The very first time I got swatted was back in 2019, 2018. I was still doing YouTube. Chris Farrow and I were doing Watch Cut. We had several viral videos. That was really when I first started my career in social media. We got swatted. You guys don't know what swatting is. It's when people call the police and make up tremendous lies to get you unalived in your home. We're black men and we are pro 2A. So I'm very vocal about being pro 2A. My guns are registered. The government and the police know that I have weapons in my home. So to send police to my home saying that I'm trying to unalive someone or myself is a dangerous act just in itself. So because I already had the 911 app alerted, so I suggest anyone who's worried about people doxing, people swatting, there's this app called the 911 app. You can put your address in there. You can verify yourself through the app. And what it does is whenever there is a 911 call to your address or an allegation made against you, it immediately gives them information. How many people are in your home? Do you have dogs? This also helps if there's like a fire or something. It really could be for anyone. Like if there's a fire, if you have a disabled child in your home, you can put all of those things in this app. So the police officers, the firefighters can come into your home and know exactly how to get your child out of their crib or whatever it might be, right? For me, it was, I'm a social media influencer and people often dox my home and swat me. So on my 911 app, it immediately says if there's been a violent call, if there's been a call of gun violence, like any type of violent call that did not directly come from our address, because you can also put it in the app where it connects your 911 calls that comes from your phone number from your home. So if it's a call that comes outside of our home, it gets flagged. So it got flagged. So by the time I called them, they said, yes, Mr. Dillard, it got flagged. It was getting flagged when all the calls came in. Also, they're stupid. People are stupid. If all of y'all call at the same motherfucking time, it's going to get flagged. So they were, and it's taken me a lot to actually realize this. They wanted me dead. It wasn't they wanted me off the internet. It wasn't, oh, they don't like what I'm saying. These people, guys, wanted me dead. I don't know how else to say that without sounding dramatic. Had I not had my 911 app, had I not already had ongoing police investigations against these people, had I not had an ongoing court case, they said I was planning a murder. They made police calls. You're going to be held accountable for that. You're going to be held accountable for that. So sorry for you. It's a huge conspiracy. And then someone also just left a comment on my page. They said, oh my God, Karlos, you always go through so much. Didn't you just get a stalking injunction against an old black bald guy? I said, yes, it's all connected. You want to talk about conspiracy? Guys, this has been This woman moved here from Utah 3 years ago, tried to move into my house. I said no. She tried to weaponize my platform and other people's platforms. And when we put our foot down, she then started making up lies about all of us, me being the main person. And then she started recruiting other young and new influential adoptees just to be on her side, started pitting people against each other, saying, if you follow Karlos, then the rest of Adoptee Talk is not going to follow you. And then the icing on the cake is that she then went out and had Thomas McCormick, who had 1.1 million followers, to try to use his platform to take down my platform. Oopsie does it. The opposite happened. And he ended up with a stalking injunctions for making very, very vile threats against myself, my husband, and a sitting judge. These people are ill. I don't know how much else I can say to you. It's ill. And this is why I tell you there is an ongoing police investigation, because you cannot conspire to lie about a person, to make false allegations across state lines, mind you. If anybody knows anything about law, what happens as soon as something crosses a state line? Anything. Any type of what happens when any type of legal action crosses the state line? That's a felony. The federal government has to get into it. And which is why I told you guys the federal government and the FBI was investigating this, but y'all don't seem to believe me. Well, believe what's about to happen. And don't none of y'all come to me when these people started ending up behind bars. Bet none of y'all better come to me talking about Carlos puts black women behind bars. No, they put themselves behind bars. They put themselves behind bars. This has been going on for years. There's been more than enough opportunity just to fucking drop it, move on, let it go. They put themselves behind bars. I don't want to hear it when and if it happens. I don't want to hear it. And I'm going to be a one cold motherfucker. I don't want to hear it. There was plenty of opportunities. And then if you really are upset, put yourself in my position. How would you feel if people made complete lies that are not only provable, you proved, 3 or 4 judges then proved, and then the bitch that even made the original lie went back and said, I never said that. I never asked her to make that video. Yeah, he didn't say it. He didn't say that. Yeah. He didn't say it like that. Yeah, because I didn't say it. I said I would defend myself against you weird-ass bitches. Because you're weird-ass bitches. And I don't know actually I do know how far you will go. You will go as far as making a murder charge against a person. That is steep. Mind you, I don't think you guys understand the complexity of this. Had I been a felon, had I been a person with a record that ran deep, I got a couple misdemeanors back in my early 20s, but I'm 33 now, nothing in the last 10 years really. Had I been someone on probation or parole, those accusations could have destroyed your life, my life. It was the only reason I'm able to stand here and fight against these people like I am as a black man in a red state is because I have money. And I'll be the first one to tell you that. This all has cost me money. Proving myself innocent against blatant fucking claims and lies costs money. Making sure that I live in a neighborhood where the police won't be like, yeah, he lives in a neighborhood, he'll murder somebody. Money, and I've learned that, and I keep telling you all this. You're like, all Carlos cares about is money. No, I care about people, but money gives you the capability to care about people and to help people and to help your fucking self. Why are they so mean towards you? They're mean towards me because I shoot from the hip. I called the one bitch because I helped her out. This all started because I accused her for lying about her cancer. I don't think she lied anymore. I think she exaggerated. That's my personal opinion. I helped her at her house. From what I saw with my own personal eyes, because none of you bitches, were any of y'all there when she had cancer? Did any of y'all go to her house? I did. So from what I saw, it was a chest reconstruction surgery, absolutely. From my understanding, from what I understood, from what she was telling me at the time, the reason why she had the preventative surgery was because she did not have any medical history. I decided to call that bullshit Toma. That was my bad back then. I still stand by the word bullshit Toma because she was trying to act like she had stage 4 and she was about to die. That was not the case. She had us all giving thousands of dollars, supporting. She had us all thinking she was about to die. That was not the case. It was preventative. It was possible, probably. If probable, stage 1. Now, is it my business to negate her cancer or to try to break it down? No and yes. It was never my business until she asked me for money. Until she asked me and from other adoptees to post her GoFundMe, until she asked me to come clean her fucking house, until she asked me to go give her food, until she asked me to go pick up and drop off people that were helping her during her recovery. It now becomes my fucking business if this is true. If I didn't offer you any financial help, supportive help, gas, bringing people back and forth, I scrubbed her floors with my own fucking hands, and I have a maid. I don't even scrub my own floors. So she made it my problem. She made it my business. And when I started asking questions, now all of a sudden I'm a dangerous person. That's what happened. I'm not afraid to hold myself accountable where it needs to be held accountable. Bitch, I said bullshit Toma. I still don't believe she had full-fledged cancer. I believe it was preventative. Those are my beliefs for what I saw with my own eyes. This is not what I heard. This is not what was told to me. I was there. One second, y'all. I gotta go to the bathroom. And here's my issue. Here's my issue. She was asking for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of money. Chris's grandmother worked until she died stage 4 cancer. Chris's mother had stage 4 cancer and actually beat it. Never missed a day of work. My best friend's mom from high school, bitch worked until the bitch could not breathe. She had lung cancer. My issue was the weaponization of her identity as a cancer patient and also as a Black woman. There are people with cancer who have to work. There are people with cancer but no job, Section 8, on all type of governmental, and this is before cancer even came, right? I will be honest, and I know this because my husband helped her get her housing. If that was, y'all remember she's saying, oh, he's trying to take my housing? Once again, it would not be any of my business for y'all to be like, oh, well, why did you try to take her housing? Let me try to tell you, nobody can take your housing. Can I take your house? If you're paying rent, can I take your house? I can't. Even if you're in Section 8, can I take your house? No, what I can do is I can report if I know that you're being fraudulent. Now, I knew she was being fraudulent. I knew when my husband looked at her file, my husband told her, hey, we can finesse these numbers this year so you can get approved. But next year, you're going to have to tell the truth and you're not going to be able to finesse it. The only reason we were able to finesse it because she was moving from one state to another and we had a different tax bracket and we have different tax requirements. Don't ask me the specifics. That's not my expertise. I'm an expert in foster care adoption and fucking media. My husband's an expert in federal housing. So he, by her own accord, because y'all, and here's my thing, guys. Y'all who've been watching this, have they denied anything that I've said, or do they just omit shit, or then extend other facts? Because she said, yes, Chris and Karlos helped me get my house. So why would a person help you get a house? Why would a stranger help you get a house if they hated you? Why would this say, really put yourselves in my position. This is why I'm not stopping. And this is why I'm suing all of them hoes. I done scrubbed your fucking floors. I done fed you. I done picked up bitches and dropped bitches off from the airport. I done sent you money. I done took you out to multiple dinners. And this is how you repay me? Oh, I'm suing you. Nope, they don't deny. They rephrase it. Exactly. My husband helped her get into this apartment. Told her, you have to redo. Now, a year later, it was what, 2024? 2024, beginning of 2025, maybe. 2024. My niece was here. So that was 2024. Her year had come up. This is right around her cancer time. So as I'm scrubbing her floors and my niece and I are cleaning her house, my husband's helping her go over her file. He was like, hey, your renewal is coming up. Let's go over your file. So my husband's sitting there helping, going over her file, and he's looking at it. He goes, you're not going to get approved with this because you've made too much money on your GoFundMe for your cancer. That's what was specifically said. He looked at her finances and he looked at the debt to income ratio. He said, you made too much money. And she goes, well, those were donations. And he let her know that it does not matter if it's donation or not. If you get more than one. So if you guys want, if you want to, here's some, I guess, some game for you. If you are low income or on a fixed income, like Lady Snow, I know you're on a fixed income, right? So you can't make more than a certain amount. You can't have more than a certain amount as an asset to keep your Medicaid and your medical insurance and stuff, right? There's one way that you can do it. It's a loophole. You can get one gifted amount per year. So if you ever need a GoFundMe, let it all sit and collect. Let it all sit and collect until you're done with it. Withdraw it all at one time. You can only do it one. You can only do one transaction. So if anybody's in a space where they're doing a GoFundMe and they're in a fixed income, or they're on Medicaid, Medicare, where you can have a certain amount of income, you can get one gift a year per taxable year. There's your game. Unfortunately, she didn't listen to my husband. She kept taking out the money as it was coming in. He said that counts as income. You have to tell the truth. Her response was, I'm not going to tell the truth. I'm just going to lie my way through it. Now, as a federal employee, my husband is under certain, what do you call them? What do you call them? I don't know what they're called. Rules. He signed a contract with the government saying that he won't lie to them. Like, he not only could he lose his job, he could also go to jail for lying and helping. That's fraud. That's fraud. It's fraud. If you knowingly, especially knowingly, help a bitch, fraud. So my husband had to alert the correct authorities, saying, I helped her last year. What I did wasn't illegal. We just finessed the numbers. But this year, what she's doing is illegal. That's all that was done. That's it. Nobody tried to take her house. We just told the truth. To not hurt her, but to protect us, because we went out on a limb for you, bitch. My husband went out on a limb for you, bitch. And I'm okay with saying this because guess what, guys? They threatened to get my husband fired, and they did. So he no longer even works for the federal government. He's a free agent. So he can say what. So now this is why you guys think I'm actually free-flowingly telling you, because I don't know if y'all accomplished it, but his layoff was a little suspicious. But it's okay because we had a nest egg and we were able to save enough for at least 7 to 8 months so we can live off of what we have until he gets another position, which he has like 7 interviews this week anyway. That nigga never not have a job. So, yeah, so now I'm telling you, like, he's not in fear of losing his job now because, bitch, he don't work for them no more. So we can tell it all. He was risking his fucking position, his family's position, our home, our livelihood to protect this bitch. Now, if y'all were us, what would y'all do? Since everybody have so quick to judge, everyone's so quick to give their opinions, and I love how they never say what was. When bitches run their mouths about me, ask them what I did to help them. Because every bitch that has something bad to say about me, I've helped them in some way. If anyone ever says Karlos Dillard is a horrible person, listen to them. Because they're probably not telling a full lie. I was probably a horrible person to them after they fucked me over. That's what... Just ask more questions. Oh, he was horrible. What did he do to you? And then listen and be like, okay. Oh, that's what has he ever helped you in any way? Watch them all say yes. Watch them all say yes. Adoptee talk is toxic. Adoptee talk. Ask yourselves this. Ask yourselves. On Adoptee talk, give me some numbers for the 52 of y'all in here. Because I know Adoptee talk, I know y'all watching too. And anybody got a problem with me, you are more than welcome to come up to my panel. But be easy what you say, because papers will be served. How many of y'all on Adoptee talk, right? How many of y'all have been here for more than 3-4 years? Raise your hands. I'm not there no more, but even if you're not there no more, right? You know of it, you've seen it. These people are insane. Well, I don't say that lightly. I don't say that lightly. Every time an adoptive or foster parent comes on any type of panel, they get automatically attacked. No matter how nice they are, no matter how well-being they are, the only time that adoptive and foster parents feel safe in these spaces is if they 100% agree with what the content creator is pushing, right? So there's no room for negotiations. There's no room for furthering education. There's no room to agree to disagree. It's blood in, blood out, which is why I call it a cult. Adoptee talk, in my opinion, is setting back the legal process of adoptees by years. And the reasons I will tell you that is because of my professional experiences offline. Every time, I don't even tell motherfuckers I do adoption stuff online anymore because it's like saying you're a crackhead. Every time I go to a conference, every time I go to a family conference, a legal conference, and they see me, I'm there with my books and I got my booth and I'm doing my keynote and everyone's like, oh, you're really great, you're really smart. And then they're like, hey, do you have a social media? And then they look me up, they're like, oh, are you part of Adoptee Talk? I was like, And they're like, well, because we don't really feel comfortable, we don't take those people serious. There are a bunch of hurt individuals who have nothing going for them and they just complain about their adoption. I've heard this several times throughout the years. And it really took me hearing that in a professional setting and being compared to it where I was like, no. And then that really started me to unpack, I'm not going to say my final set of trauma, but with my adoption, the final thing that I truly had to get over with was like, that bitch did that. I had a bad childhood. Oh, well, get over it. My adopted mother literally said, get over it. Was she right in saying that? No, she was heartless. But at the end of the day, bitch, either you're going to allow this trauma to control your life, control your actions, control you from being the best version of you, or you're going to get the fuck over it and do something about it. Which one are you going to do? So I re-listened to my mother's conversation with me. Bitch, still crazy. But when that part where she says, get over it, I agree with her. I can't change nothing that bitch did to me. So why are you still on it, ho? I can change other adoptees and other adopted parents not repeating the same cycle. I had to get over what she did to enable myself to be in a position to help other families without it being negative or abusive. I believe that adoptee talk hasn't made it there yet. I think they're all advocating from a place of where they were last hurt as a child. And I don't just think that, I know that because that's how I was operating. I'm not just saying that my lived experience and working through this is going to be everyone else's, but it's just once again, what I see with my own eyes. What I see with my own eyes. And then you also have to ask yourself, the adoptees on Adoptee Talk, what do they do? Ask yourself that, like legitimate. I'm sure some of them have like a job, like work at Still Mills or maybe, I don't know, a daycare. But as far as them, because they call themselves advocates, but to be an advocate, you actually have to create community change, not just online, but offline. And part of community change means that you need to offer what? Resources. So let me change my question. What tangible resources have adoptees created on this app? Including everyone, including myself. Tangible. Tangible means you can hold on to it. Speeches, keynotes, books, podcast. Sure, a couple of them did some interviews, but even interviews on like, tangibility is there. But what did you do with that? Did you then take that article and then go try to change a law? We got any bills being changed? Any nonprofits? The adoptees who are the loudest aren't doing shit, in my opinion. The adoptees who are the loudest on this app come up here every single day and do the same thing, complain about their childhood. In my opinion, I was one of them. 2 years ago, I decided to stop that. 2 years ago, I decided to actually make change outside of myself. And part of that was sharing stories besides mine. Yes, I was already doing that with the podcast, but I needed to do it more. And I needed to make more of a change when it came to resources. So that's why I expanded my media company to a management company. And now we manage 3 other adoptees. We have all of their books out. Everything that I've replicated for myself. I've taken them from 2,000 followers to damn near all of their accounts are at 10,000 followers now. They're published. So I'm literally replicating little mini versions of me so then they can go out and do the same thing. And that's how I believe that real change will work. Not sitting here complaining every single day about your situation, but teaching people how to get out of your situation and having them teach others. That is real change, in my opinion. All of this is my opinion. Course. Sorry, let me catch up with some of y'all's comments. I became a marriage and family therapist and specialize in trauma so I can help adoptees process. I love that, Bree. Policymakers who drafted the bill watched me give a speech on it. I love that. The one thing I can say is that I helped with shape the legislation. Yes. Me too. They are operating from a wound rather than a scar. I find Karlos honest and reflective. Thanks, Michelle. Because I'm not perfect, but I am an honest person and I'm reflective even on my own actions and behaviors. Ask yourself, when have any of y'all heard these people talk like I speak? The one thing that we always hear from them, especially towards me, accountability. I can't be much more accountable. Accountability works both ways. Accountability works both ways. Wait, what did they say? Wit said what? What are allegations? We got to talk back through that. Oh, that I was going to kill someone, or kill an adoptee. Her name was outspoken. Or her name is outspoken. Oh, her name is Rebecca Moms, actually. But she goes by Outspoken on this platform. Yeah, that was the lie. That was the lie. And not only was it not true, it was dangerous. It was dangerous. It was a dangerous lie, which is why they're all getting sued now. They're all getting sued. It was a whole process. The reason why I couldn't sue them when they were saying it is because it was, even though they were saying it, it was still an allegation. The way that the law works is you have to, without a reasonable doubt, prove that they were lying, right? Or they have to prove that they weren't. The reason why I went so hard at Rebecca Mons in the injunction case is because I knew that it was going to directly be, and you guys need to remember, even in injunction cases, as soon as you raise your motherfucking right hand and you swear under the law, it is what? Under penalty and perjury. So for the last 4 court dates, I've been gathering information from her, and y'all have heard it. I've shared them all with you. She didn't ask Tracy. I'm gonna believe everything she said under the oath of law. She didn't ask Tracy to make the video. She never said that I was gonna kill her. Tracy made that up. These people lied in court. And that will and the sad thing is it's gonna directly cause them all to lose, almost by default, in these lawsuits. Is there permanent mental health facilities? Let's talk about that. As a person who has been, in a mental health facility as a young child, I don't like the idea of a permanent mental health facility. I think that they can be very easily weaponized against women, against gay people. The same history, the same thing that they were weaponized, why we don't have them, right? They're very easily weaponized. Now, I do believe in permanent social workers for individuals, especially individuals that is going to take governmental assistance. So if you're on welfare, Section 8, SSI, SSDI, I do believe that we need regular contact with social workers. I also believe that there needs to be some, because technically, they need some type of guardian. Some people with mental issues. I do believe that Rebecca Mons has a mental issue. You have to have a mental issue to continue something for 3.5 years. You have to. And I wasn't her first victim. She has a history of stalking, not only in my state, in other states. She has a history of domestic violence. She has a history of lying to police and courts, according to her own family. Like it just needs to be, something needs to happen. I don't know about permanent per se. I ain't rolling with permanent though, because people can change and mental health does get better. But I do believe that we need some permanent social workers. Wait, let me see. I'm looking at y'all. You can't lie. I mean, you can, but it will catch up to you. Army and Chris, okay? We're hanging in there. I'll be honest. I got about 4 more months of safety net. I hope my husband gets a job before then. But if not, I have my degrees and stuff, so I'll be able to go back to work if need to be. But I don't think so. Everyone's going through something. This economy is horrible right now. But you know what? We're still blessed. And when I say my husband lost his job, my husband works 2 full-time jobs, y'all. I think you guys have always known that. So he just lost one of his bigger ones. He's still employed with his other virtual job. So we went from above middle class to we're now living middle class. We ain't got as much. We down 150 right now. But we still make more than the average American. So don't worry about us. We cool. Once you see me on here with a GoFundMe for rent, then y'all should be worried. You will never see me on here with a GoFundMe, bitch. I will go back to pimping and pandering before No, but seriously. Hold on. I'm trying to catch up with it. Does that hurt to find me anymore? No. As someone who was adopted, fuck my adopted parent. Well, Lele, you're allowed to say that. You're allowed to say that, love. What were the allocation? Okay, that's when y'all were catching her up on that. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments. She's trying to rebrand now. Yeah. It's not a rebrand. She's trying to be my brand. She's trying to rebrand into me. For real, like, outpatient expeditiously. I worked on open records in the 90s and I started a support group, non-defunct. I love that, Michelle. But backed out of the general space because you can't reason with you cannot reason with crazy. I feel as though she projects how she feels about her adoptive parents on people she thinks. Well, it's not just her, it's all adoptees. So, like I said, I don't dogpile people. I'm not going to say something about a person just because other people are saying it. I did the same thing. I projected that all white people are just fucking racist and dangerous because mine were. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of them are uneducated. A lot of them don't know a whole lot about Black history, Black culture, or Black rights. Doesn't mean you can argue with a philosopher if they're inherently racist or not. But what I do understand now, that is after I stopped projecting my feelings about my adoptive parents on other adoptive parents, conversations, communications, and work got better. I was able to actually break through to way more people who were willing to actually learn. Were they racist? Some of them actually fucking were. But they didn't even know because no one actually gave them a second because they probably said something like I used to. They said something ignorant, like mixed, and they just got shut down. Right? I decided to work with these people. And the reason I decided to work with these people for two reasons. One, they got money. Y'all sit here and complain, talk about there's a $25 billion engine. Yeah, there is. And these parents got money. They got enough to pay the adoption agencies $25 billion. Why ain't you getting your little bit? And they're going to adopt regardless. So you might as well get a little coin and educate them to help that kid. Because at the end of the day, if you're staying child-centered, they're going to adopt these Black children regardless. So as a white parent who's ignorant and racist, are they better off being ignored or are they better off being educated? They're better off being educated and make some money while you're doing it. Because, emotional labor is not free. Hey, Money. If I ever needed to GoFundMe, then something horribly, my husband's dead. If you see a GoFundMe for rent, my husband has died. And I am completely incapacitated, in a coma, or I can't walk or something, or work for myself. I'm begging someone to give me more context here. Babes, you just had to be here. Or you can go to my page and then go to the last video. It's a stitched video. No, it's a duetted video. Go to that duet. It's going to take you to my lifestyle page. That lifestyle page has over 30 videos breaking it down step by step by step. It's called Stalkers. The playlist is called Stalkers. You can't miss it. Hey, Ron. Wait, Outspoken is back on public. I don't know. I got the bitch blocked. She's getting sued, though. And her friend. There's definitely people in the PHP that are Carfu's like, hey, I'm voluntary. I'm voluntary. It's called Stalkers. You can't miss it. Joe, I ain't got no sense. But you know what's crazy, guys? My close friends know this. I was really in a fucking slump there. From December, January, February to March, I was really in a slump. And it was really in a slump because, one, I have my own personal shit I'm dealing with. It's none of your business. But then, two, all of this adoption trauma shit. And then they were wearing down on me. I'll be honest. To have people make videos about you every single day, to watch every single action. She made over 400 posts about me in less than 90 or 180 days. I think we looked at it. It was something around like an average of 4 to 5 posts a day. It wore on me mentally. I am a very strong individual when it comes to having a solid mind, being able to have shit just wash off of me. I couldn't wash that off. No matter how strong I was, having thousands of people contact you and say, just like, imagine this. Like, I really want you guys to just really put yourselves in this position. And you say, okay, turn the phone off. Cool. We deleted the app. My husband literally made that announcement back in December. I left for 2 months. I deleted the Ward of the State. I just took Ward of the State off of my page, off of my little TikTok thing. So I couldn't even see it. He changed the password and everything. Couldn't even log in, right? Then they went to the life of Karlos. So that's when I shut down Word of the State. If you guys look at the timeline, I was already going through severe harassment from them on and offline. I had already just won one court order against Rebecca Bonds, and I was about to place my next one. I had just placed one. And when I placed it, she was trying to avoid being served. It was December 21st, right before Christmas. It was right after my attempt. My husband said, we have to stop her. This is dangerous. We have to stop her from doing this. So we've then submitted our request with the courts. After she avoided being served until about January 7th. She was served on January 7th. She tried to get the court to dismiss it virtually, and the court said no, she needed to appear at court on January 24th. She knew she was going to lose. So what happens a couple days after she knows that she's going to court for a stalking injunction? What happened, guys? What video was posted? On January the 11th, they concocted this murder scheme. Mind you, the sound clip that they used of me saying, hey, I will have to defend myself was from October. It was from October 24th. After the original October 8th day. Because in that clip, I said, we've already been to court. You've already lost. You're a loser, bitch. You lost your titties. You lost your son. And you lost your family. So why would they wait October, November, December, January? Why would they wait 4 months if I was, quote, planning to eliminate her? Why would they wait 4 months and use an old audio clip? And mind you, did you guys ever see my face saying that? No, you didn't. Because had you seen the video, you would have seen that it was from October. And the full video clip said, you've already lost in court. You're a stalker. If you come up to me, I will have to call the police. And if the police don't come, I will have to defend myself. No one mentioned a gun. No one mentioned a pew-pew. But right before court on January 24th, now we have this viral video. Also, you can ask TikTok. There are certain apps that you can look at to see if it was a paid promotional post. They paid $500 for that post to go viral. Because did you ask yourself, how can a person with less than 3,000 views get a video post with 4.2 million views? They colluded together. And I know this because one of y'all told me too. Y'all got a leak. Y'all always have a leak. Y'all colluded together. You've raised money to do this. You spoke together. Y'all made this video. You guys got together, made a script. It was all planned out. Tracy was the face because she was dark-skinned. She never, and when you guys start looking at it, she never tagged Outspoken. She never put Outspoken's face because it wouldn't have gotten the same response. And then they helped pay to make the post go. That's why they're all getting sued. Panel is open too. If you guys have any questions, the panel is open. I am getting tired of talking to myself. So if you have any questions, Jazzy says you're being too nice to these people. I'm being legal to these people. I mean, what else can I do? What else can I do? There's nothing else you can do. I'm being legal with these people. There's nothing else. Like, bitch, if it was just to beat a bitch ass, I would. But it's not legal, and I'm not going to destroy my life. Hey, Carpuzzi.
Okay, I just want to know, Millennial Rage, why are you here, Karlos? I did just send you screenshots of some of the stuff that she said.
What'd she say? Tell me what she said.
First of all, she said, hold on, let me scroll up. She said it's consequences of your actions. And then she said that I don't know why he just doesn't stay gone for real. And then I said, then why?
Well, but stay gone. What do you mean stay gone?
Yes, what do you mean by that?
You want me to kill myself? Wait. You want me to kill myself? I'm not going to kill myself.
So I just want you to know I sent those screenshots to Karlos because that's how seriously we take this. So Karlos, I wanted to hop on to make you aware because I know it's hard.
I wasn't watching my comments like that, but thank you. Yeah. We will be using those. So if you want me to disappear, what do you mean by that? And this is exactly how they got those stalking injunctions. This is exactly how they're losing in court. What do you mean by that, by stay gone? The last time I left the internet, I tried to kill myself. So are you saying you want me to try to attempt to kill myself again? If that's the truth, you need to be taken down and you need to be taken off this app. Tap the screen, guys. Shut it live. This is for educational purposes. This is also to encourage folks who are struggling with mental health issues that you can make it, that you don't have to listen to folks on the internet. And just because people want you gone doesn't mean that you have to be gone. I'm not lying. Here's the thing. So I'm not going to be unfair to you. I'm going to give you a voice. Come up to the panel. I'm going to mute you, though, because you don't get to just abuse me in my comment section. So you get a choice here. I'm not a dictator. You can come up to the panel. We can have a conversation, or I'm just going to mute you, love. Okay, perfect. So you're just muted. You see how easy that is? Y'all see how easy that is?
If you don't like people, why are you here?
She can watch all she wants.
But like, that's gonna put you in a bad mood. I don't understand. Why do you want to live your life through hate?
Right. And what would Carlos have to lie about any of this for? Like,
Well, she
what
said
would
I
he
lied,
gain
but
if
what
he
did,
was?
but what did I lie about? Oh, you can't say nothing anymore because you got muted. So please tell the audience. Come up here, tell the audience. Since you're going to make claims, and it doesn't put me in a bad mood. I'm not even, the thing is, it's their go-to, Carpuzzi. I have 4 judges, a district attorney, a private investigator, police investigators, 2 private attorneys, myself. Everyone says I didn't do anything wrong. So prove everybody wrong, including 4 judges, a district attorney, a private investigator, a police investigator. Everybody's lying.
As the judge said yesterday, it's worse than middle school.
Honestly, I believe half of these mentally well checked people have not really, they only peaked in like middle school, high school, so this is all that they could do.
Worse than Facebook. Yeah, that was great. And again, I say this as someone currently in a PHP program. I have to go back in a few minutes for group therapy. But all of this to me are signs of not being mentally well at all. And I know that I keep going back to that, but I can't imagine not liking people and thinking all these horrible things about an individual, or also me, because you have me blocked, but then sitting here.
Because they're mentally unwell. This is why I invite them up. I don't allow them to harm me.
That's why I had to word my words well.
We have the power to mute them. And I want to show you guys, to display it in action. You don't have to allow people to abuse you. If the abuse continues, you will get served just like everybody else. But you're not going to be able to get served because you're a coward. You're a coward. If you truly believe I'm a dangerous person, if you truly want to protect people, you would speak up. But you guys don't speak up because there's nothing to speak about.
That's a good point, Carlos, because I mean, you and me have talked about some things that and with Lady Snow, about things that I'm not going to share here about, being a teacher. And every single time I thought there was an actual threat, I immediately responded. That's a very good point.
If there's a legitimate, real threat, I'm not going to just sit in somebody's comments and watch them. I'm going to be as loud as the roof. And the only people that are loud as the roof, they're all insane. One literally has a delusional disorder. But I want to go back to, they're saying what's pertinent. Why can't he be gone? This right here is going to be used in court because Ariel Weaver said that you guys got together and you guys all planned this. We know you guys all planned this because y'all told us you planned this. We know that you guys paid for that advertisement, for that video to go promotional. We know that you guys completely understood that it was a lie. And that was the result. They wanted me to go away. And I went away for a little bit. And they're telling us the truth. Why can't he just stay gone? Because I'm not a loser like you guys. I win. I'm a winner. I might stumble. I might lose a couple battles, but I will always win a war. So keep waging this war against me, and every single one of you will deal with it. Consequences, financial, civil, or legal, whichever applies to you. Period.
I
Mod 2,
agree.
you're good. Mod 2, you're good to mod. If you're a mod here, you're good to mod. Sorry guys, I'm folding laundry.
No, you're good. I'm gonna hop off because I have to go back into my grippy sock place. But I would like to just say one thing. If anyone in Carlos's comments, his lives, at any point says anything that I perceive as a threat to Karlos, I will be taking as many screenshots as possible, trying to figure out your legal identity, and we will be sharing it with the team.
Yeah.
Because there's one thing I'm not going to do is let my friend have threats against him. And when you say stuff like that, you know what you're saying.
I don't know how many people need to be made examples of, because once we share it with the team, then my team sends it to our attorneys, and our attorney sends it to your local police, and your local police contacts you. That's how this works. I will not be intimidated. I will not be gaslit. I will not be afraid of a group of individuals who are just cowards. Cowards. But Carpuzzi, have a great rest of your day. Can someone say... I have a Carlos photo on my phone. The fact that I have a social media photo on my phone. I literally just had to go delete some shit from like 2022 because I needed some space. I went through 1 terabyte. I was like, damn, we don't need nothing from 2022. That shit old, okay? It ain't coming back up.
Are we adding millennial to the lawsuit or no? Because I got that identity. If you
Oh, we
need
don't
it.
know who Millennial is. So I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
got it. That's Sam Lopez.
Who is Sam Lopez?
I just searched her. Like Carpuzzi said, if y'all really want to do it, like y'all don't know about me. Y'all don't know about me. Like,
Oh, y'all don't know about Lay.
y'all don't know about me. That's Sam Lopez. So Sam
Listen,
Lopez,
I
if
will
you
say
want to
this
be part of
about
the
Lay.
if you want to be part of
I'll
the
say this about
lawsuit,
Lay. Lay has landed a bitch in jail single-handedly.
and it took less than what, 12 hours? I don't even
Yes.
think it took a full, like, you were still in the hospital whenever
Yes.
I found her identity, when I found them people's identity. Like, you really don't want to do that. Like, if you
You
want to
really
comment,
don't.
Carpuzzi
Lay
is going to
works faster.
screenshot.
Lay worked so fast the police told us to stop investigating.
Literally, like, please, I don't like it because Carlos don't bother nobody. I don't know you from a candy paint, Carlos, but I've been following you for too long. Like, if y'all want to do it, I can find you. I will, and I will send it to Carpuzzi. So she gonna get her screenshots. I'm gonna get y'all names. So Sam Lopez, I'm adding you. Carlos, I'll DM you her info. So if you really want to keep, let's elaborate on what they
She
mean.
did say that she wished I would go away.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I asked in the comments to
And
elaborate
it's
what
not
that
up. Here's the
means.
thing: it's not up for me to decide if you broke the law. It's up to the judge to decide.
Right?
It's just up for me to feel uncomfortable and like my life is in danger.
Explain here or explain in court. Pick
Yep.
one. But
Pretty
that's all
much.
I have to say. Dropping.
Thanks, Lay.
I'll be watching.
Bye. Y'all, Lay, okay, let me give you the lore on Lay. So y'all remember, what was that, 2 Junes ago? I was attacked by this dude at the Megan Thee Stallion concert. Now, it was dark, a lot was going on. And I remember, because I had blacked out, because we had fell down like 30 fucking rows of seats. He jumped on me. You gotta remember that video. So that when I came back to, I remember telling my friend, I said, get his face. So of course, like Phoenix PD did, because I know Phoenix PD, they're not going to do shit. So we had to take ourselves, the ambulance didn't even come. I had to take myself to the hospital. Me and my niece had concussions. We had contusions and like open wounds. Like it was crazy. So I made a video about it. And like Lay said, I didn't know who Lay was. I don't know. And a lot of the times, y'all, people just be randomly sending me emails. You don't know who's watching. You never know who's fucking watching. So I remember the next morning, I'm just still trying to figure out with my personal team, because I have a personal team of people who find people. But we were even like, man, like we don't have a name. All we have is a face. We were trying to do facial recognition. It wasn't working. Why did Lay send me, I think it was a Snapchat. She sent me a Snapchat and was like, yo, listen, I think I found the exact group that was harming you. Then sent me photos. And I was like, yes, that's them. I was like, how did you find it? Layden went to Snapchat. Y'all know how Snapchat has like the area location where you can go if there's like an event, and you can go on Snapchat and you can go when people are posting.
It reveals your location no matter where you go.
Yes, and she was clicking through video. There were hundreds of videos because we were all at a concert. She was clicking. She explained, she was like, I clicked through the videos that was and I looked at places that were in the same POV as you were. So I was looking at the audience POV, and I happened to find one that looked like it was exactly in your section. And in their Snapchat, they were bragging about beating a dude up. Said dude was me. A year later, homeboy was in court. He was facing 2 years prison time. He was 21 years old. He was underage drinking when it happened. And just like I always do, I gave him a fucking olive branch. I said, hey, listen, because in Arizona, if you're a victim of a crime, you get to really decide what happens. Like the judge asks you, what do you want as retribution? Like, what do you want? Do you want jail time? They literally ask you. You have the right now they may not always listen, but you have the right to strongly suggest. And the prosecutor usually listens. They wanted to put this black boy in jail for 2 years. He had not had any other criminal charges. He was enrolled in college. He had a 2-parent household. His parents came to all the court dates. His parents offered to pay me off. They said, Carlos, will pay you $5,000 to drop charges. I said no, because at the moment I was rolling in money, so I didn't need the $5,000. Now I would have been like, yeah, bitch, dropping the charges, $5,000. Because I ended up kind of dropping the charges anyways. But what I did was I said, no, your son has not held himself accountable. He thinks it's a joke. He made videos about it on his SoundCloud and promoted his rap career. He needs some type of atonement. But I said, I don't believe that this boy needs to go to prison. So what I suggested was a 2-year deferred program where he has to do 2 years of probation, community service, and also anger management and alcohol abuse classes. We offer those in Arizona for first-time offenders. I pushed for that. I also, because of that, I was able to get, Arizona makes you pay, what do you call it? Retribution, whatever. You have to pay medical costs. That was about $40,000 in medical cost. I was able to have my private insurance cover most of it, and then Victims Advocates, which is a system here in Arizona, they covered the remaining, I think, $12,000. So technically, my medical bills were already paid. I still could have came after him from like pain and suffering and lost wages. I said, no, I don't want any money from this young man because he had a part-time job. I said, I don't want any money from him. I want him to take that money and pay for these programs because I know these programs cost money and actually do the programs. He's actually graduating his program next month in June. I ain't heard nothing from him. I get updates from the prosecutor every once in a while. He's doing great. Stayed out of trouble. Ain't heard from him since. I'm not out here trying to ruin people's lives. But accountability and consequences do exist. Listen, he could have been, what if we would have ruined that man's life? Well, not ruined because he would have ruined his own life. But if I would have just been spiteful and put that boy in jail, his life would have never been the same. Right? Is it Miranda? What's up? Miranda, do you know you're up here? Miranda, going once. All right, she don't. Shawnee, I don't know why you loading. I don't know if you wanted to be up here or not, but you're loading. I'm gonna disconnect you. You're gonna have to come back. Why we suing? We suing because these bitches lied. So if y'all watching, please comment y'all's info to public to be trolling. Yes, Lay. Oh my goodness. He was on Facebook bragging. He was. And that was the only reason he had to be held accountable. He had to be held accountable. He had to. I just needed the hair color of his hair to find him. Don't play with Nisi Poo. She said, don't play with Nisi Poo. Hey, Kels, what's up, love?
Oh, I wasn't trying to get on. My bad.
All right, bye. If y'all have questions, come up to the panel. I'm not answering comments. I'm trying to get some laundry done. But if you guys have questions about the prompt, yes, some adoptees are being sued. Tracy, y'all know her as Tracy on here. She's the first one getting sued. Her lawsuit went out yesterday. We have another lawsuit coming up in about a week and a half. And then after that, it's going to be about monthly until I get through the list or until I run out of my time of limitations. So, and I'm going to be loud about this. I'm going to be as loud as the disrespect was. I'm not going to disrespect people. I'm not going to call them out their names. I'm not going to make lies about them. I'm going to sue you. Oh, somebody earlier on my on one of my comment section asked me, they said, how this is going for. Well, so far we just started, so they're going great. I got approved. Well, the first step was to get it approved by the court. We got that done yesterday. So first step, good. With Tracy's, I'm not worried about that one. That one's literally a hole in one, literally. The other ones, we might have to do a little bit of fighting. But yeah, someone was asking me, what does it look like after you sue a person if they can't pay you? So most people who go through lawsuits think that you just get money. That's not how it works, right? So with Tracy, I have a $10,000 lawsuit against her. She has 30 days to respond in writing to the court. In this response, she's either going to agree with the lawsuit, she's going to ask for a settlement, or she's going to ask to fight said lawsuit. If she fights said lawsuit, she and I get a decision if it's going to be a judge case or a jury case. I'm going to push for a jury case because I don't 100% believe in judges here in Arizona, so I prefer a list of my peers, a jury of my peers to decide the fate. If you guys followed the Brienne situation, did any of y'all follow that? Brienne, I'm not much in tune with it, but very similar to that, right? It'll be televised, possibly. I don't know. Bitches could be. You can come in here, come to the courthouse. She will have to come to Arizona for her court. One thing that Arizona does not play with is they do allow virtual court cases, but most of the time they're going to deny you. They're going to deny you for a few reasons. One, they want that money in state, right? They want you to come spend money in this state, especially if you broke the law. Two, depending on what type of legal issue, they want to be able to have you, like to get hands on you, which is why Homeboy never fought his. Did y'all notice that? He never fought his. I wouldn't have fought it either. You threatened a judge. You think they're going to let you roll up in Arizona? They ain't. Hey, Ness, what's up? What questions do you have?
Oh, sorry. I was just curious because I didn't know what it had to do with like adoptee talk, with like what happened.
Adoptee talk as a whole, majority of them, I used to, I don't know if you know, but I used to be part of that crowd. Several of them back in January. Well, this has been started 2-3 years ago, but back in January, it escalated to them colluding together to say that I threatened another adoptee and I was planning to murder her.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they made a video. It got 4.2 million views. I got hundreds of thousands of death threats. I had to get legal action against 2 individuals, and I now have stalking injunctions against them from this incident. And then now, because of all of that, a few of them are being sued. So now I'm out just being loud about it.
How did it escalate that far? Was it like on the adoptee subject, or was it just something completely different?
It escalated because on Adoptee Talk, it's a cult. So if you are part of Adoptee Talk, you'll know what I'm talking about. People befriend you, and then naturally you kind of get drawn close to people who have similar lived experience to you. So once you get close to them, or like as close as anyone can be online, then they start asking you to do things like posting about another story. Have you ever had any adoptee send you a story on Adoption Talk or about adoption and say, you need to speak up about it? Have you ever had that happen to you?
No, I've gone in some of the adoptee lives because I'm also an adoptee, so I like to just watch some of them, but I've never interacted too much.
So when I say Adoptee Talk, it's the people who are creators who are interacting. So not just people who happen to be watching or people who are just like yourself. I don't consider you part of Adoptee Talk. I consider you a watcher because you don't make your own content about it, right? That aligns with what the majority of those creators are saying. So when I say Adoptee Talk, I'm talking about a specific group of and if you look up the hashtag Adoptee Talk, we're all on there. It's a specific group of adoptees who've been making content since 2020.
Oh, it's because I watched the videos on like about like how adoption's wrong, and I didn't know if it, because I see the hashtag sometimes, so I didn't know if it was like that group or other people.
It's that group. I used to be part of that group. I had a whole thing that said like adoption is slavery. I was never anti-adoption, but I definitely wasn't pro-adoption. Now I'm a little bit in between. I understand that some kids and some families just want each other, and we just need to give them resources to make their situation better. We should always support reunification when safe and possible, but the idea that adoption should not exist in the world is crazy to me now. I think about it. We need some more legal boundaries. We don't need to change birth certificates. We don't need to change, illegal rights. But I think it's a shame to say that we should just altogether get rid of adoption. Some people just want to be adopted, and that's okay. It's okay, but I think that they should still need their legal rights attached to it.
Yeah, it's like a complicated situation, especially when you have your own we all have our own experiences, and then you have the like laws. I think there's no real good solution, at least as of right now. But
Well, well, there is the easiest and best solution is to change the laws. The laws would just be, hey, adoption is still legal. We're just not going to change the birth certificate. That'll change. That would help so many adoptees. We're not going to do closed adoptions where adoptees don't know who they are. Those will be small changes, small legal changes that could happen. But what I see happening on TikTok specifically with adoption is that a lot of folks are stuck in their 1 second. Turning your camera off. Static images. Babes, it's not static. My face is right the fuck here. What the fuck you mean? Maybe I gotta make it bigger. They thought I was a static image. What was I saying? Sorry, I got ADHD. Oh, a lot of adoptees base their ideals and their opinions on their own personal experiences. And when we look at law, we can't do that. We can't look at a whole industry and say, this needs to change because of my personal experience. Now, we can look at what's affecting us all, which are the laws, right? So that's like saying, when I used to say white people shouldn't be able to adopt, that's kind of wrong, because if we can set up enough boundaries and policies so they are educated, so maybe they should be required to take further education. Maybe they should be required to do a social background check. Maybe we should see if they're racist or not, right? We can do some things instead of just saying no, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. And the adoptees on that side, they don't do that. It's all in or all out, and there's no room for negotiation or conversation.
yeah, I noticed that it's kind of like a black and white. Like for them, it's more of just like, no, this is wrong. And I agree. I think there are a lot of things wrong, but like also the reality is that this is in our laws, and it's not going away. Options.
And what really made it start to change for me is when I actually started working with real families. When I really started working with real families 1.5 years, 2 years ago, I was like, oh, okay, well, even in my own personal experience, not all parents need their kids back, babe. Some of these parents are abusive as fuck. Now let's look for aunties, uncles, family. Sometimes the whole family's fucking abusive. Now let's look for community members, right? And sometimes kids are at an age where they just want someone's last name. They want that. I think it goes back to being child-centered, and each case is going to be, I think someone said it, each case is going to be different. Now, what we can do is not have permanent laws. That's the only thing I still have a problem with adoption, is that the permanent laws. And nothing should be permanent in adoption. It should always be up to the child to change at any time. So that's where I'm standing now. But yeah, there are some great people to learn from on Adoptee Talk. If they are being statistical based. So if you come across the live and they're talking about statistics and foster care and adoption, everything is educational based. They have resources and sources to show you from their opinions. Still follow them. If you are following a person who bases all of their opinions off of emotions, I'm not going to tell you not to follow them, but I would hesitate to take anything with a grain of salt.
Okay, yeah. Do you have any specific people you'd recommend?
No.
That's okay. Anyways.
Not even my own friends, no. Because the reason I don't recommend a bitch is because I like them don't mean that you might.
That's true. Yeah.
I would say just go out, look up the hashtag adoption, Adoptee Talk on TikTok, and see who's out there and see who you flow with and who you don't.
Okay, yeah. I don't really have any other questions, but thank you for having me.
My pleasure. You have a good one.
You too.
Gianna, what's up, love? Long time.
Hey.
What's up?
Sorry, I've been MIA.
Oh, me too. We both been MIA. What's up? What would you like to add to the conversation? What would you like to respond to the prompt?
So I remember you were talking about outspoken because she was talking a lot of shit. Excuse my cursing, but she was talking a lot of shit. So yeah, and I saw like you were doing a TikTok court thing, which she's a little insane. I never met her. I never.
Oh no, it was not TikTok court. That was real court.
Oh.
That wasn't TikTok court, baby. That was real court. I went to court with her 5 times. And won every single time.
Yeah, I remember. But yeah, she's a little too insane for me. So it's just weird. But my question
with
I'm
her,
sorry. Go ahead.
with her, because she's my current stalker, she has a current stalking injunction against her from me. I try not to say too much because I understand that she's mentally unstable. So the more I say, the more it's going to enrage her. I do know, guys, that, which is also why we're preparing these lawsuits, her injunction is up in January, which seems like a long time for you guys, but it's not. My last court date with her was in April, and she had 52 pages of screenshots of me and my day-to-day moves, where I was going, what I was doing. And this is after she was told by the court to leave me alone. So if you guys hear me hesitate to speak about her, it's not that I have a gag order. It's not that I'm afraid of her. It's that she's literally dangerous and she actually lives in my city. She knows where I'm at. She has already made allegations of murder. She's also made allegations saying that I tried to unscrew her lug nuts at her house one day. So that's why I just try to shy away from talking about her. She is insane. That's my opinion. I said it in court under oath. I believe that she's mentally insane. Yes, that's my opinion. And I believe, and not only me, but my team, my attorneys and my team believe that she's crazy enough to harm me, like seriously. So that's why we're just like, because if you push a person who has nothing, who's emotionally deranged too far, they don't have nothing, which means that they will do anything. So I am hoping that, in January, whenever the stalking injunction is up, because it was only for 1 year, we are going to reapply for it and try to make it permanent because she has not stopped stalking. She has not stopped harassing. And we're also hoping that part of the civil suit against her, we're going to try to slide in a permanent no contact order in that as well. But yeah, that's my opinion. I think she's an emotionally disturbed person, who's a very lonely individual who moved to a state to follow a content creator who did not want to be her friend. And now she's stuck here with no friends, no family, in a hot ass state that's kind of getting more expensive. And I hope that she just finds something to live for besides stalking people online. That's the only thing that she can do. She has to find something that gives her life besides other people.
Right. And last question, how many people are you suing? Because I was just curious.
5 right now.
Okay.
She said, y'all know the names. The first one is Tracy Hughes. And as the lawsuits go out, I'm not going to say their names until they get served. Tracy got served yesterday. So as they get served, I will make their names public. Y'all know them all. Y'all know all of them. I'm just gonna wait. I like to see them squirm because I really want to see. I really am interested because I woke up this morning. I was like, okay, so I did my live yesterday. I made my video. Back in like January, February, they were making posts and lives every single day when they thought that I was down and out. But now that I'm up and on it, why y'all so quiet? Why y'all so
Literal crickets, damn it, crickets.
Say something. But then, you know what my husband said this morning, Lady Snow? I was like, he goes, Carlos, would you not be quiet after you've seen him put 2 people on papers for stalking injunctions and lawsuits on another one? I'm not saying shit. I said, touche. I probably wouldn't say shit either. I'm not saying shit. But I would like to just hear some opinions. Even that one lady, I don't know who the fuck that was. Layla doesn't know who it was. I don't know who that lady is. She's talking about some, well, come up and tell me. And isn't it funny how I always have had an open panel to discuss. So why don't these people want to discuss? If you got something to say about me, the best place to say it is to me. I mean, in my opinion. Hold on, I dropped my towels. Hey Bree, what's up, love? I didn't see you down there.
Hi. So you kind of answered some of my questions, which was what you find the most toxic about Adoptee Talk, because I'm fairly new to it in the social media world. I'm an adoptee through foster care. And so I've only recently kind of come across all of this on TikTok. And I was really just wondering, like, what you found to be the most problematic, because I think you and I align a lot on what we hope to see happen as far as adoption and, like, safe external care for the kids who need it go. along the lines of not changing birth certificates and making sure that reunification is not a safe option, and then looking at maybe like permanent guardianship, or if adoption really is something that the family sees as best, like how do we do that in the way that is in the best interest of the child. So I'm wondering too, like if this issue that these people have with you are because they only want to see it through one lens, and
Yes.
also if you think that aligns with the fact that we know adoptees take up a huge majority of like the people who seek mental health help and don't necessarily have trained clinicians who know how to handle the weight of people who do experience adoption trauma and biological trauma also. And this is the space that I work in now as a therapist intern, so I'm always looking to get more perspective.
Okay, so great questions. I'm going to start with the second question first. You might have to remind me of that first question because I have ADHD, so I might forget. But to me, your second question was more important about the mental health aspect and how you can further help adoptees as a clinician. So I don't know if you know this. I'm not a clinician, I'm not a therapist, but I do work with foster care agencies, adoption agencies, organizations, nonprofits, and everyone who kind of works in the child welfare system, which includes therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. I was the keynote speaker, the plenary speaker for the 2024, American Psychiatrist of and child. I don't know. There was like 5,000 psychiatrists there. I'd be forgetting the acronyms. It's one of the largest psychiatrist groups in America. And what I discovered was I was speaking about specifically foster care, but then, I was there for 4 days. So as I was doing my speeches and at my table and educating, I was noticing, and I got a lot of feedback from psychiatrists and therapists that they don't know how to help their clients and their patients because they are missing a part of the lived experience. So a book can teach you how an adoptee might respond, but they're not teaching you why they're responding like that. And there's not enough adoptees at this moment who have been able to navigate their trauma and be successful at the same time. Because you also have to acknowledge, if we're going to talk about mental health issues, we also have to talk about the unemployment and the poverty level in these systems as well, and in this group. A lot of adoptees struggle financially. A lot of them struggle with homelessness, with instability, right? Which then we know instability does not help mental health, right? So when I was speaking to them, one of the things I advised them is to bring on a lived experience consultant to their, if they had an office, like to their office, to their clinic, or even into their organization. And I even work as a lived experience consultant with the governor's office here, the governor's office of families and faith here in Arizona. And my role is voluntary. I don't get paid for it. It's a voluntary role where we look at what where funding needs to go for the state, and to see if certain funds need to go for foster care and foster youth. But then where I come in is hey, let me look at this and see if this is actually going to help these kids, or are we just putting money in people's pockets? So if we look at that in a mental health aspect, if you have a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist working with an individual who's adopted, right, and they understand the process of trauma, but they don't understand the process of adoption trauma, nor do they have their own lived experience, they need a person that they can just consult with to say, hey, my client is feeling this way. Did you feel this way? Do you have this experience? Do you know other adoptees that have this experience? And from your POV, what did you do to navigate through that? You cannot teach someone something that you don't know. And we're expecting psychologists and psychiatrists to just use the basic understanding of mental health. But like we understand and know, mental health is always changing and growing. And the more that we get into technology, the more we can look at the brain, the more that we understand that adoptees' brains are chemically changed at birth or when the adoption happens, right? So that's the answer to the first question. We need psychologists, clinicians, people like yourself to recommend people with lived experience be at that table. Because how do y'all know if you don't know? So secondly, what was the first question?
I was just more asking about like what you find to be the most toxic in the adoptee talk social media space, because I'm, like I said, very new to like the social media aspect of all of this. I've just done a lot of stuff in my own personal life, and like I said, now doing it professionally. And before we hop off to that question, I wanted to just comment really quick on what you were talking about with mental health, because I've seriously considered also offering like consultation services as an adoptee myself, and being able to offer, therapy to adoptees and adoptive families, being somebody who has lived it myself and also done the work to heal, and then now having that clinical education around it, because I've had to seek out that education. It is not provided in grad school programs. It's not something that most people get the education on, and it should be, because there's so many people impacted by adoption in our country. And so it's actually been really shocking the more that I learn about it as a professional, because I'm like, this should be secondhand to trauma education. Like, this is so common, and why are we all claiming to be trauma informed but missing such a huge population that make up that trauma population?
Yeah, Penguin, don't mind Jubilee, because Jubilee isn't in the right state of mind to even be minded of. Carlos, you muted yourself, right?
I didn't. I was over here talking to Bree. Who said something about Jubilee?
Penguin, she said that, well, I don't know their pronouns, but they said that they saw a couple of videos recently from that person
Yeah, Jubilee
about you.
Jubilee is a stalker who watches all of my lives. I've never met them, and they live in Canada, which is why they don't have a stalking injunction against them. But the Canadian government is aware of their behaviors, and they suffer from delusional disorder. So I don't know what to tell you on that one. I don't. The Canadian government is already aware. There's not much I can do. Had she been American, there's a lot I could do, but she's not. She's Canadian. So the Canadian government is, and actually Canada has a very strict cyberbullying and cyber harassment laws and policies. So I'm sure they'll take care of it. But yeah, I did see someone send me her video of us live yesterday. But like I said, I don't know her. So, but getting back to what you're saying, Bree, what I was saying is, professionally, I'm going to ask, so you said you want to get into content creation professionally as far as an educator. That's going to be a hard thing for you to do, which is why I'm having a hard time. I went from just being a content creator. I've been doing YouTube content creating for like almost 15 years now. I got really big on YouTube with millions of followers. My first TikTok account had about 900,000 followers. I was well known for my work on reality TV and stuff like that when I was doing acting. So when I transitioned to TikTok, I just wanted it to be fun, and I had just published my first book, and that's when I kind of fell into Adoptee Talk. What I discovered is that you cannot have both. You cannot be part of Adoptee Talk and educating on this platform and be professional, because they don't align. And the reason they don't align is because the adoptees on this platform are not professional, and they don't care about policies and the procedures and the things that you have to abide by, especially if you are a licensed therapist, a licensed social worker. If you have licensing, you have policies and procedures that you need to abide by. They don't care about those. Two, they are all in and all out. And this is the answer to the first question. What is my biggest issue with Adoptee Talk? There is no room for negotiation to have a better understanding. They believe what they believe, and it's a cult. They have leaders. They place a person on a pedestal. And trust me, I know this because I didn't even call myself King Carlos. They started calling me King Carlos, didn't they, Chris? Yeah. Whoever has the most social power at that moment kind of becomes the impromptu leader. Then as the impromptu leader, you're expected to, one, care for everybody, care for all their needs, support all of their GoFundMes, all of their mental, pay for Pampers, pay for food. If their roof we've replaced roofs. We've bought fucking houses. We have helped people buy cars. We have helped people buy wheelchairs. We have teeth, nails. Shit, Lady Snow got a free set of nails out of me, right? That's because you were my friend, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're expected to who literally bend over backwards. And then you're also expected to be damn near perfect. You're not, and when I say perfect, in their mind. So perfect doesn't mean that you're actually perfect or clear to perfect. Because perfect doesn't mean perfect. Perfect means that you can see both sides. No, they only want you to see their side. If you only see their side and you talk ill to adoptive parents, you talk ill to foster parents, you talk ill to other adoptees and foster youth who are happy with their situations. I cannot tell you how many times I saw adoptees come in and say, I'm actually happy with my adoption. And yeah, there could be some legal changes, but you know, like you guys are kind of taking this too far. And they're like, fuck you, you're an adoption fog. Yeah, you probably want to rape children. Like it's literally that far. It's literally that far. So my biggest issue is it's cult-like. There's no room for furthering your education. There's no room for growth.
Yeah, that is very wild. And I can see, like, I'm somebody who very much values being able to see the both and seeing multiple perspectives. And, the area of therapy that I work in is very systemic. And so, like, you were speaking to how there's so much layering and compounded things like poverty, homelessness, all of the things that tend to come with trauma, and then even more highlighted through like adoption and adoption trauma. So I think like taking all of that into consideration, it's just very, I guess, strange to me that so many people would gather in one space and not be able to consider that there's multiple experiences, even under the same umbrella of adoption. I know something that I've seen a lot of is people wanting to make other people careful with the language they use and using it as like a blanket statement over everybody's experience.
Now, here's the thing. I am big on language. Still to this day, sorry to cut you off, I am still big on language because words mean things, right? And they have definitions. Now, give me some examples of what you're talking about, though.
So, like, one word that I saw argued heavily recently was chosen. There was an adoptee that had used the word chosen, and she was telling one of her students who was also adopted that she was chosen because other kids were bullying her for being adopted. And I know that was heavily argued in her comments.
Now, I'm going to tell you what they said. I wasn't there, but I'm going to tell you what was said. Because I used to lead, I told you, I used to be the fucking leader of the fucking cult.
Yeah.
Can you ever imagine accidentally leading a cult? That's my... So what was probably said in these comments was, you weren't chosen. You were just the first pick of the litter. They didn't care about you. No one cared about you. You were just the first child available. You weren't chosen. You were picked and you were bought and placed. Now, is that kind of what was said in them comment sections?
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, if that was a conversation that I was having on my platform, if an adoptee said I was chosen, I would say, I'm happy that you feel that your parents chose you. But the reality of the situation is that there are thousands of children and there are 1,000 people on wait list. And a lot of parents just pick the first child, right? Mm-hmm. That they come across, right? But you're correct. They could have not chose you because a lot of parents would skip over kids.
Yep.
So if you want to use that word for yourself, yeah, they chose you, but you need to have the understanding that it's not like you were the only child, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people struggle with that because they want to feel special. You weren't special. You were just chosen out of a whole group of kids, babes.
Yep.
Now, how I would educate on a different word, because I hate, and this is another thing that Adoptee Talk does, that I hate it, and they continue to do. Some things that you do have to push back on, right? But if pushback without furthering the education is just being a bitch. If you're just going to push back without giving them an alternative, you're just being bitchy, right? So I would say, I don't like that phrase, chosen. But what you could say, I was placed in my home and it was a happy placement. Boom. Yeah. We've taken care of this issue of chosen, not chosen. I was placed and they chose to keep and they chose to raise me. It's a simple changing of your verbiage.
Yeah, I think that's really important too, because the modality that I tend to use the most is narrative therapy. And, a major component of that modality is language and making sure that we all have a similar understanding of the language you're using. And maybe the language you're using is problematic and contributing to the perspective you're having on life that might be causing more problems in your life than if we could maybe change that language to something that better represents the reality. And so I've been very observant of the language that I've been seeing recently on Adoptee Talk. So it sounds like you're somebody who really just values, like, not necessarily gentle education, but providing solutions.
That's another thing. I'm not gentle. I shoot from the hip.
Yeah.
I probably will at one point or another hurt your feelings. That's your problem, not mine. Feelings are for you to feel. Go talk to your therapist.
Right.
And that's why they have a problem with me, because I hurt people's feelings, because I'm not going to sugarcoat any of my education. I'm not going to sugarcoat my feelings. I'm just not.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm also not going to be a mean bitch for no reason.
Yeah. Well, right.
Carlos will tell you the truth. And unfortunately, it's a hurtful truth for some people sometimes. Like with me, like I'm a single mom. I chose to leave domestic violence. And I was struggling.
Yeah.
And I could not get myself together. I could not get myself together mentally. And he's like, look, you have children. They rely on you. And no, you don't have family, but you are their mother. Mm-hmm. You are responsible for them. So you're going to have to make a choice.
You sit and woe is me. You can sit and woe is me.
He said you could sit, and then he gave me $100 and said, here's some grocery money. Look, here's some grocery money. This is it. This is all that you're getting. Figure it out, Tiffany. And I'm like,
those boundaries.
look, I'm thinking in my head, like, that's what, oh yeah, he is kind of right. Because my dad, and then on top of that, I had just lost my father, so I was a real mess. And it was almost like he was speaking, my father was speaking through him. Because it was the truth. I am their mother. Yeah. I am supposed to provide for them. I did choose their father. He stepped away. He decided I can't force him to be a dad, but I have to be their mom.
Yeah.
Period.
I think during that conversation, I told her, I was like, your situation is unfair, but that's just the hand you were dealt.
Yeah.
That's the hand you were dealt. Either you're going to play the whatever hand you have and make the best out of nothing. Because even if you got a shitty hand, you can still win the game of poker. Because if other people have worse hands than you can win that hand. But if you have a bad hand and you just call it and you just say, I'm going to put it in my hand, you don't even know. These bitches are bluffing out here. They got worse hands than you.
Yeah.
He said, go ahead. So he told me, go ahead and cry about it. Here's $100. Get yourself together. Get it together. And guess what?
And I think the last thing I told you too, and I kind of regret saying this to you because it was kind of mean. I said as a mother, it was really mean now I think about it. I said as a mother, it would be a cold day in hell before I have to beg a bitch for money to feed my kids.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
Did I cry, Carlos? Did I cry? Did I get angry? Did I come on here making videos?
No.
Look what he said to me. Because he told me the truth.
It'll be a
He told me the
day
truth that
hell.
I needed to hear.
And
a lot of people need to hear it.
And ever since then, you ain't had to ask. You've been the bitch helping people get food for their kids now.
Yes. True. Very true.
Awesome. Well, and I think that speaks to the benefit of not enabling people, because that doesn't give them the tools to get themselves out of the rough situation that they're in. Whether it's their fault or not, you're still the one in the position. And that's kind of what I hope to continue helping clients do too, is like, sometimes you need to be challenged on your perspective. If you're painting yourself as the victim and you have no way out and you have no options, like, how do we get you into that feeling of empowerment?
After 18, ain't nobody a fucking victim. Unless, like, you are actually a victim of something. Like,
right.
Unless you're actually a victim of something. Robbery, theft, rape. But if you're, babe, after 18, that's called life.
Yeah.
Oh, my landlord did it. That's called life.
It was hard because I don't have, I live in the South. I live in a red state where it's really hard to get care for your kids if you're working class and you don't get, Medicaid and all those extra benefits and Section 8. Like, I can't, you don't qualify. That's all I kept hearing. And it's like, I'm on the clock 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If I'm not taking care of my kids, I'm and I was stressed out beyond, all things. And their father refused to help. Like, He even stole my baby's social security number and filed taxes and didn't send me a dime. Like, I'm talking about, that's how like crappy my life was going at that point. And he was like, look, this stuff like this has happened to a lot of people and they seen their way through it. You got to figure it out. You're their mother. Because if you don't figure it out, then you know you're going to lose them to the state.
Yeah. And the thing is, Bree, to answer your question, I guess that's the biggest word. I think to describe the adoptee talk, they enable each other. No
Yeah.
one's pushing each other to be better. No one's pushing each other to do more as far as growth. Everyone's
It's
comfortable at being where they are and being in the trauma, and I wasn't anymore. And then my followers, you'll start to see after I stopped being comfortable in that trauma, people they made decisions. Some people, I'm gonna mute some of y'all. Some people literally left because it's hard to see a person say, "Hey, we're all not victims all the time." It's hard to see a person who, and honestly, if you know my life, if you knew my life story, I'm the last person that I'm the first person that should be upset with a chip on my fucking shoulder.
Yeah.
But I'm not, because what is that chip going to do? All a chip on your shoulder does is weigh you down from your greatness. But once you start speaking like that, you become a danger to adoptee talk.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate all of your insight, and I do have to hop down, but I would love to connect more at some point and maybe pick your brain about some other topic.
Before you go, one thing I would recommend to you professionally, you need to get into the conference world. So you are a therapist, right? And you're highlighting on adoption trauma. You need to meet people like myself and other people who I don't have my therapy license right now. I might go back to school for my master's, I may not. But you need people that you can connect with in your Rolodex. So when I have clients, because I actually need you in my Rolodex, because I don't know a whole lot of therapists who are specializing in adoption trauma, but I have a lot of families that are looking for therapists. So it's good for you to go to these conferences to meet lived experience consultants like me, because we don't have your qualifications to treat these families. I can only consult. But our work together is where the real healing comes in.
Absolutely.
And you just happen to have both. You're a lived experience and a therapist. So people like you are brilliant. But even still, when you do this work, put a lived experience consultant on your Rolodex, because just because it was your lived experience, you're a white woman. I might look at it different being a black man.
Right.
Right? But we both have foster care experience. So you always want that diversity as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't assume that everybody's experience is just like mine, and I definitely value getting multiple perspectives, because I can only speak to what I've lived, and that doesn't represent the majority of other people's experiences. So yes, I will definitely look into more of the conferences, and I would love to connect more at some point with you.
Absolutely. All of my contact information is in the link in my bio. Reach out, and then someone from my team will set up something for us.
Okay, perfect. Have a great day.
You too. Alrighty, guys. I got about 20 more minutes before I have to go to my next meeting.
let me say
Tiff.
something, Carlos. Let me say something. I don't. None of these people have met you in person, right? All of the ones that made videos about you.
Besides my stalker, she's the only one who met me in person. But yeah.
So, like, they have absolutely no clue, like, who you really are. Like, they have no clue who you really are. They have no, like, it's like when the camera's off, they have, like, it's like you only know him from few second clips that you watch hundreds of times. Like, you spent no time with this man and his husband. Like, how can you judge him?
Absolutely. And I also think that they think that I surround my life with adoption and trauma, and I don't. My real life is actually...
We didn't talk about adoption one time at dinner.
Because why would I? That's my work. I'm here to enjoy dinner.
I'm sitting there thinking, like, we didn't even talk about we didn't talk about any of that stuff. We didn't talk about anything dramatic at dinner. We talked about airlines and how
the food, cracking jokes on people.
Yeah, like, I don't understand what or who they think that you are.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
I think that they think that I don't know who they think I am, because they have an idea of who I am in their own brain, and I can't read brains.
Thank you. Like, Carlos is so fun, y'all. He is so fun, and the way that like you guys are treating him, because I know some of y'all are in here watching. Like, you're dead wrong. Like, you're dead wrong about him. You're dead wrong about them.
If they're not in here, they're on the outside watching.
and I know
Right.
well, they are watching. And here's the thing, guys. I've already okay, panel. What else do I need to take accountability for that I did wrong?
Nothing.
Let me
Because
know.
in my opinion,
And
like
Tiffany,
you
you
did
were one of
right.
my friends that was like, Carlos, that cancer shit was wrong. I don't care why you said it. You was
Yeah.
one of my friends that said, I don't roll with that. I
Yeah.
have medical issues. I don't roll with that. But you didn't just, oh, you're an evil bitch. You were like, I see why you said it. It doesn't, but you, just like I push you to be a better person, you push me to be like,
Yeah.
you were the one person. That's why I made my retraction. I said, you know what? You're right.
I
Because
was
you
like,
told
that's
me,
not
why
right.
be like them? Why respond like them? Why be like them? Even if you're
'Cause I
justified.
have it like an eye for an eye, like that stuff, like that depends on what.
Oh, I think she might have a thing with her service. Can y'all hear her? Or is it just me?
No, I can't hear.
Okay. Yeah, Tiff, I think she sounded like she was traveling or something. Several of my friends and associates were not happy with the words I said. And that's what I did. I had to eat that shit up and take accountability. Yes, I said it was wrong. It doesn't matter why I said it. It was still wrong. And I still could have got the same result of getting this bitch a stalking injunction without being mean. I could have got the same result. And I think that's what my friends were saying. Carlos, you would have got the same result and you would have been in a better place without having sound clips of you saying these things. That was my fault. But guess what? I'm a human being.
But what does it matter? What does taking you down really do for them?
I don't know.
What does it? That's like the biggest question that's been puzzling me. Like, how does your success or failure affect them in any way? They're not your husband. They're not your child. They're not your brother or sister. They don't benefit.
I don't know if you were in here before, but earlier today during the live, some lady came in and was like, oh my God, I wish he would just go away and stay away. That's been their whole goal. They want me to go away and stay away. For what reason?
For what? Like, how does that? They don't have to watch you. They can block you. Life goes on. The sun is gonna come up tomorrow, whether Carlos is continues to be a millionaire or he falls off and never comes on social media again. He's still gonna have success outside of an app. His
Tiffany, I
world.
also think that they truly believe that this work is app based. It's not. You were there. I do conferences. I do keynotes.
That's what I'm saying. Whether you're online or not, you're still gonna have work offline and much higher paying.
You know what's crazy? Ever since I stopped doing my lives regularly, I've been so busy. I have 4 new clients. I have 3 new conferences. We just did 3 conferences. I'm busy as fuck. Now I'm just like, damn, life was a lot easier when I was just running my mouth online because I wasn't doing the real work. I was running my mouth online. But now that I'm doing real work and I have all of these conferences, I have all of these things, these organizations, and some of this stuff is paid. Some of it's volunteer. I just volunteered at an organization for autistic kids, for girls who are doing a beauty pageant. I didn't get paid for that. They asked me, they said, Carl, they found me at a conference and they said, we have kids that are on the spectrum and we would love to have a male figure, because men don't volunteer for this. We would love to have a male figure come in and be a judge. And I said, I would love to do that. And they were like, it's not paid. And I was like, all right. Because I still believe that at least once or twice a month, you need to do something for your direct community. For free. For free. If you want to say that you're an advocate or you're a community builder, bitch, build community for free. And you can do that in real life. It doesn't have to be online. And really, the only way for you to build community is in your own community. Online is fake. This is all parasocial. Yes, we can do some change here. Yes, we can get some stuff done here. But the best change is going to happen from you in your own community. Jessica says because they think it's because if he has success, they can't. Do you feel like that? Do people think like that?
Yeah.
If I thought like that, I would never have anything.
Yeah. And then they're all miserable. Like, a lot of them don't have jobs. If you think about the ones that are like super focused, and I'm not making fun of people for not having a job.
Well,
I'm just saying, like, if you have things to do, if you have things to do with yourself, if you have
Uh-huh.
things to do with yourself outside of social media, and I'm sorry, I have a lot of clients that are on Social Security. They have things that they do outside of the internet. So what are you doing for yourself outside of the internet? Are you playing a game? Are you trying to master a craft, crochet, something? Because if you have your mind occupied on something else, then you wouldn't be worried about what Carlos and Chris are doing.
That's not a hobby. I started the flute last year because I felt like I had extra time and I wanted to learn something new. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to do something I haven't done before. I already know I can write books. I already know I can do social media. What can't you do? Bitch, you can't read or play music. Now I can. Challenge yourself. And I think I was talking to that therapist. I mean, Tiff, I know you know the statistics. Y'all go follow Tiff. Tiff is an amazing resource for, well, I don't know if you're doing resource stuff, but she got videos on the page. There's thousands of resources on there still. What was I going to say? Oh, fuck, I lost it. It was, oh, yes, found it again. The homelessness thing, that's connected directly to trauma. A lot of adoptees and foster youth have a hard time with homelessness and with jobs because of their trauma. I know this because I went through it when I was working, and even fast food joints at customer service, even in corporate. I have, because of the trauma that I went through and because of being silenced so much as a child, I have a no fuck with attitude when it comes to authority.
That's why I have to work from home.
Don't fuck with me. And that is not conducive in the workplace.
Right. Absolutely.
That is not conducive because don't tell me what to do. Your manager will tell you what to do. They're your manager. They're supposed to tell you what to do. So I learned even early in life, if I wanted to keep a job, I had to keep a job to keep a house. So I knew that. But I had to figure out what type of job that I would do that also I could be in charge. And that's why when I was still working, even at Lancome, I was a keyholder. I had to have a manager position. I had to have a manager's position. I could not be somebody's employee. Even if it's just a key holder or a shift supervisor, I had to be a key holder or a shift supervisor just so I have a little bit of authority over what I'm doing, right? Because the moment that I feel like I have no authority over my life, I get upset and I start to react in trauma. I start cussing people out. I start not showing up to work because, bitch, you're not going to tell me. But if I'm in control of my life, then it feels like it's up to me. So I think that that's a huge problem. A lot of adoptees don't feel like they're in control of their life when the real truth is you're the only one in control of your life. You're the only one in the driver's seat.
There is a nonprofit called 80,000 Hours. Like, if you don't know what you want to do with your life, you can contact them, and they literally have someone sit down with you and talk about and go through and match. Like, you can say, I don't like people. I don't like customer service. I don't like this. I don't like that. And they'll literally go through every job in the entire world and be like, these are the jobs that are best for you.
Yeah. Or start a business. That's why I started my own business. I am the only one in charge. I'm the boss. But that also includes, so here's the thing. A lot of adoptees want to be the boss, but they don't got a boss mentality. You got to wake up every single day to go hustle that money. Tiff, I know you got the boss mentality. You got to wake up every single day. Where am I going to get my next money? Where am I going to make my next deal? How am I going to promote? What streams of revenue am I going to create for myself and my family so I can work hard at it now so then it can just be recurring over time? Not even just adoptees. Most human adults don't have entrepreneurship like that. Right? Which is why get rich quick schemes are popular and pyramid schemes are popular because it gives you the facade of owning your own business, but you really don't. You're just paying somebody else to still tell you what to do. So yeah, I think that being quiet about adoption talk, some of these people are still actually my friends. Not everybody over there I hate or did something wrong to me. Some of these people are still educating. They're doing great, but they're still involved with people in that cult. So I think it does the internet a disservice because a lot of people go to a TikTok for information and they're going to these lives And I don't think that they're getting the correct information when, as far as it comes to being trauma informed. And I think a lot of them, from my experience, are being turned away. I cannot tell you how many adoptive parents, by the time they get to me, they're scolded. Y'all have seen it. How many times have y'all been on my live when I was doing the lives towards the end, and an adoptive parent would just come up automatically negative? And then I would say, hey, I just feel a lot of animosity. Like, are you okay? And they're like, well, you're probably just going to tell me I'm wrong for adopting. And I was like, I'm not. I'm sorry that you experienced that other places, though. Right?
They let my cousin have it, and my cousin was in tears. She called me and she's like, I tried to share my adoption experience on a video, and I had all these massive people coming over here telling me, oh, they should have helped your mother keep you. And it's like, it was 1980 and my mom was 14 years old. Like, she didn't want to have a baby and her parents weren't going to let her keep me. So I was adopted. She actually had a totally reverse life than I did. Her parents were amazing. They were always open with her. They never lied to her about being adopted. They were totally different from my parents. So I can't be mad at my cousin because she's saying I had a good life. But now,
because she had a good life.
She did. She's a nurse. She's an RN. She's an RN. She doesn't have a whole bunch of trauma. You know, she met her birth mom. She took it for what it was because it wasn't what she thought it would be, you know, running through the grassy field, hugging.
You know what a lot of it is also? The reason why I was able to kind of unpack my adoption trauma. So I think I did it quickly, but it took me like 6 years. I met everyone in my story. I got the answers, Tiff. Like your cousin, she got the answers.
Yeah.
How many adoptees do you know who don't even know their parents? Don't even know who their people are. Don't even know what race they are. That's the type of trauma that even I can't even unpack because that wasn't my lived experience. Right? So then it's easy for us to be like, well, goddamn, why are you still mad about your adoption trauma? Bitch, like, not all families are great. They don't know that because they still, and I can understand them because I've had both experiences. When I was a kid, I used to like think that my family was like an Antoine Fisher moment and they were just waiting for me to come back and I was stolen and my mom it was injustice. No, she was a coke dealer who left her kids at home for weeks and months at a time.
Yeah. It's the hard truth to deal with too, because you know you have some people that are like, oh, you know, CPS just be taking, like they be trying to come from the point of like majority, like they be trying to say majority of the kids that are getting taken away, oh, CPS just out here taking kids and stuff like that. And it's like, well, there are kids out there that actually, if they didn't, you know, get removed, that they probably they wouldn't have been here. They wouldn't have been alive. And then there's kids that did get taken away and then they were put back in the same, you know, environment and they didn't make it. So it really is just everybody's different, you know, experience when it comes to, but like
that's one of the biggest things I've changed. You know how much I used to be against CPS. Like I used to hate CPS because once again, I placed my trauma on what they did to me and my siblings. My situation, still granted, like they definitely should have taken us, but you didn't have to take us like that. You didn't have to knock down our door. We didn't need SWAT. But honestly, they didn't know who was in our house. We know that she's a large drug dealer. There were weapons in the house. We don't know who's in there. So like when you actually if you look back at your story from an adult lens that is trying to be trauma informed, yes, they could have done better. They could have immediately before they made the emergency removal, try to find family for us. But if you're doing an emergency removal, it's an emergency removal. It's an emergency. That's why it's called an emergency removal. It's not like we planned this. Secondly, people need to understand that in my lived experience and also my professional experience, 9 times out of the 10, if CPS is knocking at your door, you've already done something wrong. Now, it might be small. It might be your neighbor called because they saw your kid running around outside with no shoes on. Cool.
Right. Yeah.
Great.
I had them call. I had them when I was in Alabama. The school would call on me every time I would report them for something they did.
Done nothing wrong, your children will remain in your home.
That's what I'm saying. Every time that lady came to my door, she would bust out laughing and be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like One time she called me on the phone and was like, "Look, they done called on you again. I'm not coming out there. I'm
But do
not coming
you?
out there."
But on Adoptee Talk, have you guys? You've read my stories. You guys, I think most of you guys have read my book, right? My mom wasn't an evil person. She was a human who made mistakes, big mistakes, right? Me addressing those mistakes does not equate to her being a bad mom or a bad human. It's just the truth.
She was but she was surviving how she knew.
But I think a lot of adoptees and foster youth, they villainize the system and adoptive and foster parents while idolizing their birth parents. And we need a little bit of in between on both ends.
Oh, I wouldn't have. When I met my birth mom, she told me like I was experimenting with black men, and I did not realize what I was getting myself into.
Wait,
just
Miranda,
saw
I'm
my
gonna push
friends
back.
do it.
I'm gonna push. Wait, I'm gonna push back on that. Miranda says not. Wait, hold on. Something's happening in my comment sections. Not all birth families are bad. Miranda said. Not 100% true, but sometimes. Oh, low quality. It's unclear. They said they restricted my live for 10 minutes because of low quality. Y'all make sure you tap the screen and stuff. Miranda said, not true, but sometimes people change and wrong can get better and grow. Yeah, my mom got better and grew. Still doesn't mean I need to be in her care while she's getting better and growing.
Right. And I think also too, like, because foster care, adoption and CPS and all of that has a negative stereotype, because you do have some parents that, you know, they got their kids took or whatever and they don't want to take accountability, so then they'll be in the kids' ear and, you know, feeding them certain stuff about CPS. And it's like, for me, like, I don't look at CPS like there's just these horrible people, because I was in that situation where it's like, if CPS did not come and get me, I wouldn't have been here. So,
I was a caseworker, and there are parents that are not that were not following their case plan. You know, and the kids, and I used to be like, you know, you should be so happy that like your kids are with your mother or with your sister and not with some total stranger while you get your life together, because you can see your kids, you know, but you can't see your kids if you're still using. You can't see your kids if you're still performing the same patterns, and you cannot sit here and tell your kids, oh, they took you for no reason at all.
right,
Children are not silly.
that's
Children are
wrong.
not silly. Even the youngest of children are not silly.
Yeah, it's
Like one
wrong to
kid, there
tell
was
them
one
that.
kid in the back of my car, and I was taking him to his mother, and he said, "My mom smokes weed," and I was like, "What?" My mama smokes weed. I said, "Cigarettes?" He said, it smells bad. It don't smell like no cigarettes. I was like, "When you go over there now?" He was like, "No, not now, but before she did." And then when he got in the car, he was like, "No, she didn't do it this time either." Like, kids are not as dumb as like people make it out to be. And a lot of kids were grateful to be removed. A lot of kids did not want to see their bio parents. They were happy with their grandma.
That was me as fuck. Okay.
But here's the
Okay.
thing.
They were happy to be at their grandma's house.
I think this is a great conversation, and maybe tomorrow that will be a live that I will talk about. CPS is not 100% bad. It has its flaws. Yes, I don't think there's a person on this panel or in this room that will say that CPS is perfect. It does not have flaws. But flaws are things that can be changed.
Right.
This idea that we don't need, because a lot of people call it the family policing system. I do think that certain states, and also we have to realize people have conglomerated CPS as like one big thing. These are different agencies based on their states. Some states call it DCF, DCYS, CPS. There's so many different names because these are different agencies in different states. So some states like South Carolina, horrible. I don't give a fuck what you say. That CPS system is horrible. They are corrupt. I never see any good cases coming out of there. But then you have
Where's the
South Carolina, any of the Carolinas, really horrible. Tennessee, horrible. But then you have CPS systems in like Delaware. Delaware has a great CPS system, and
yes, that's where I started working, and I was so mad that I left.
Well, because it's a small state. it's a smaller state. You can literally get through the whole state of Delaware in like 3 hours. So of course, it's a lot easier for them to go check on kids because it's a small ass state. You can have a kid over across the state and it's only an hour and a half away compared to if you're a social worker in Texas and they didn't place the bitch in Austin and you in Denver or Dallas. That's hours and hours away, right?
In Texas, you better hope that they don't ship your child to another state because they were putting kids on buses.
Yes, they were. And losing them.
Yep.
And losing them. Oh, we put them on a bus. We don't know where they went. What?
Yep.
Texas
sleeping on the all. I walked into. I was like, oh no. When I was on a contract, I walked into that office. They had kids sleeping on the floor. They had kids sleeping on the floor in Texas.
I'm going to school for social work. Do you think like we could have some conversations like outside of TikTok? Because I'm trying to well, after I finish my I'm trying to get to my bachelor's and stuff. After I get my associates, I want to get my bachelor's because I do work with right now I do work with foster kids because I'm involved with MYOY. I don't know if you ever heard of that or if it's somewhere different, but in Michigan, it's Michigan Youth Opportunities Initiative.
Yeah, I know what that is.
That's for after foster. That's their extended foster care program, right?
No, so MYOY is from like 14 to 25 or 26.
It's like kind of like it's extra support, right?
It's like a support group, you could say. Like we go to the Pistons games and we go to like Michigan Adventures and stuff like that.
So it's kind of like it's like a sorority or a sorority or fraternity for foster youth, just to have support systems.
Yeah, it's a support group. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And if they need resources, like if they need, you guys stop. If you need stop.
That was the organization I was telling you I'm the president of.
Yes. Okay, that's why I was like, this sounds familiar.
Yeah. I'm the president now.
I was like, this sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard about this.
Yes, and it's a good program too.
I just had a one of my followers. She was a former foster youth. She got into maritime school, 100% free in Maryland, and now she's in Turks and Caicos right now. And I'm like, I don't know whether to be jealous or or what, because you just went to maritime school for free and now she's on a cruise. You know, she's working on cruise line.
I know that's
she's
right.
working on a cruise.
I know that's right. All right, we got some new guests. We got I think Miranda. Did you come back up?
Yeah, this time I actually meant to join.
Okay. What's up, Miranda? And then we'll get to Amber. What would you like to add to the conversation, Miranda?
So I just wanted to touch on something Tiff said earlier, because me and you had conversations before a few months ago. I'm one of those parents that did get my kids taken. I've taken accountability, I've grown, but it's not always the case that they deserve to be taken or stay away. I'm one of those, we've talked before, because my mom is very much a controlling narcissist, and I will never get kids back until I can have the money to afford a lawyer to go after her directly.
I remember your story. I think if I remember correctly,
And
my
so
advice
then-
to you was this: like, at least they're with your mom, and they will always end up coming back home eventually.
Yeah, exactly. At least they're with my mom, but something Tiff said earlier is far from the truth, and that's why I still fully stand by each case needs to be taken on a case-by-case basis, because yeah, at least they're with my mom and they're at their home schools, but it doesn't mean I get to see them. Again, I did not get to see my daughter at the last visit because of a quote-unquote school-related function that my mom didn't know about till the last minute, so the visit couldn't be changed to one of the other visit times because my mom didn't know about this band trip, which as a band mom in the past, you know, months in advance.
Yeah, I think I remembered specifically having that conversation with you, and I think,
I was only speaking about the ones that get to see.
Wait, 1 second, Tiff.
I was not speaking about the ones that don't get to see, because I already know about the narcissistic grandmothers and grandfathers and aunts and uncles that want their own kind of satisfaction to say, "Look at me, I'm the hero."
Yep, that's my mom right there. And so it just
but if I But if I remember correctly, and this is why I pushed back, and I'm going to push back the same time I pushed back on the original conversation, there was a reason your children got removed. I'm not going to share your story, but you shared it with me. So your mother saved your children. She could have said, fuck her and her kids. Your children could have went off to a foster home and got raped and beaten every single day.
And she did save them to prove that she's the hero.
Now, so
that's the problem.
So I still agree with the issue there. That's the issue.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, if you weren't fucking over your responsibilities, your children, then you would have never been in this situation.
Well, my house burnt down, and so
I know.
But I could have done things different, and I could have taken more charge. And I've done them different now, but that's the problem. Texas needs reform. And a lot of people don't see that because they want to be so black and white.
So what we need are biological parents like you. I think I said this too. You should share your story more because you take accountability.
Because the more I share, the more my mom's pushed back and the less I get to see my kids.
So that's there because you're sharing about your situation with her and the situation. Share about what you've learned. Share about, hey guys, yes, my house burned down, but had I had the correct people around me, had I been dating the correct person that was going to support me, had I had renter's insurance or life insurance or home insurance.
Owner financed.
Right? Well, you just give advice of what, because I know you have advice of what you could have done differently, right?
Yeah.
Give that advice. Don't give the advice of, oh, my mom did this and she did that. Anyone's going to be mad at you.
No bad mouth her. And there's an organization called CP Glover Foundation. Like, if you have a child that turns 18 and she tries pulling adoption and all that kind of stuff, like, you can get your children. You can get your name back on.
From what I've heard about her mom, she doesn't want adopted. She wants to hold these children over her daughter until they're 18. Yep. That's the only power she has. Because if she adopts them, then her daughter doesn't really need to try to. I can't talk to them.
Child support from both me and my husband, so she adopts them. She loses that.
Child support stops so she's not going to adopt them. This is a whole power.
She threatens it, trying to control me, but she ain't gonna do it.
She ain't gonna do it. But I think it's important for you as a birth parent, because at the end of the day, like I told Tiff, anything that happens to your children is your fault. And I lost
my home too. I will never forget that. I lost my home, and they sent, not only the Red Cross sent CPS to my hotel.
Yep, firepower.
Asking me all these questions, and I'm like, I have renter's insurance. Look. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I pay for it every month. I got $10,000 in renter's insurance. I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good.
Yeah, I was stupid. I own her finance.
Who do you live with? Who do you have the kids around? Looking for boyfriends and stuff. Looking through my house. My ex-husband left a pair of shoes in the closet, and I was like, those are his shoes. And I had to tell him, like, you got to get the rest of your stuff out my house.
Yep,
because
they used my son's stuff to say that my husband was still living with me when they asked my husband to move out. They used my own son's stuff as proof that my husband was still there.
Yep. They do that. I'm telling you.
And this is where I come in as a lived experience consultant. I'm not saying that these systems don't do that. I'm saying that if we all fucking know they're doing it, then educate yourself on how they operate. And
I tell people all the time, when you go take a drug test, you do not leave your urine unattended until that stuff is in a bag. Your name is on it in a bucket.
So she could get my kids. They waited a year, let my mom get clean to test her, because every test I took turned out clean. They let my mom wait a whole year to test her because they knew hers was going to be dirty.
That's horrible.
Well, in your specific situation, because I've actually thought about your situation since we last talked. And I think that they did that specifically. They wanted to close down your case because they knew that your children weren't really adoptable. They're a little bit older. They knew that, one, you would fight because you would continue to fight.
I was fighting.
To save money for the state, the best thing to do is just to place them with your mom under guardianship and then have you pay child support so they don't have to pay out of the state money. That's why your situation.
Because my mom never pushed to get state money, and that is why 100%.
That's why they waited to make sure she was approvable.
Reform badly.
That's why they waited to make sure she was approvable, because it saves them money at the end of the day, compared to them just placing them with another foster family, and now they have to pay that foster family and all of those.
The only reason I put her down is because they put them in Dallas. If they had never moved them to Dallas, I would have never put her down, and I would have gotten them back sooner. And that's what sucks about the whole thing. The state did it on purpose.
Yeah, but it goes back to, like Tiff was saying, being proactive instead of being reactive. And what I see in my professional career in the system is that a lot of parents are reactive.
And I was
they're not
reactive at the
proactive.
beginning, and I've learned so much since following you and watching you. And that's why I said back when we had our first conversation, even the negative you used to say, it would hit me at first, but then I'm like, you know what? He is right. But watching you grow as well has been amazing.
Yeah, the same thing I'm trying to tell you for your mom. It's not that I'm changing up. I'm just changing how I say things to make people feel less defensive, right? So it's not like you have to be all up her ass, but I'm sure if she saw you saying like, hey, I want to teach other parents how to be better. And then honestly, just let it, I think I told you this before too, let it go and let it grow.
Yeah.
Let it go. The moment that you because she's a narcissistic sociopath, give her all of control then. You're in charge. You got it. I'm so happy, Mom, that you're doing this for my family. Like, you're the best mom. I would be blowing up her ass. Without you, my kids would be in foster care. I read this book called Ward of the State. He was in 37 foster homes. Guess how many homes my kids have been? In their grandma's house. Thank you, Mom. Start doing that to her. Watch her attitude change.
I'm not sure it's hard, but I'll try.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah, and I think also too, like people like me or people like Carlos and stuff like that, like I know I can speak for me. Like the reason why I tell my story is not to bash my family. It's not to bash my parents. For me, I want to see kids to continue to be at home with their parents. I don't want any more kids, even though I can't control that, but I don't want kids to continue to go in the system. And I also want parents to see, like, you don't want to be in that predicament where your child don't want nothing to do with you, unless you just don't care. You know what I'm
But
saying?
it needs to start at the hospital when the babies are born. See, this is the thing. They're not educating a lot of these parents that walk out the door. They don't know what they're doing. They have not a clue. The doctor doesn't ask any questions like, do you have a support system at home? You know, are you housed? They don't ask any of those questions. These people walk out the door sometimes with these babies and they don't even have a home to go to. They're crashing on couches.
Got a baby at my friend's right now that's actually, she's my roommate. We've got a baby here that she's taking care of that came over last night without food. And the parents were like, just add more cereal to her bottle. And I gave her $10 and I said, no, you go buy that baby food. Go buy that baby food right now. These people, they need to grow the fuck up. They've already had CPS in their lives once. And like I told her, I said, look, don't try and stop it. Let what's going to happen and just know that you're there to support this baby because they ain't learning. They're the type of parents that frustrate me because while I learned and grew and still don't have my kids back, these people ain't learning. They sent that baby over with no food, said add cereal to its formula. It'll be fine. It's almost
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I've had parents say water the formula down. I'm like, you realize that like you're malnourishing your child, right? Like one lady didn't even know that you can buy formula with food stamps. And I'm standing there looking at her like, how do you not know
trade
this?
their food stamps for vape money?
Like, why? How do you not know this?
But this goes back to the weaponization of CPS and the villainization of CPS. Do they need changes? Yes, but we all know somebody that are involved in CPS, and they're involved in CPS for a reason. They're involved with CPS.
A lot of them don't know how to manage money. A lot of them don't know how to manage their bills. They get,
that's the average American.
Yeah, that they continue to have babies. They continue to have babies because they're trying to fill a void. And I know because I did it. I did it. And I used to tell my clients, I have a lot of kids because I was trying to fill some type of void. Don't do that.
You know what's crazy? So the more I unpacked my adoption trauma and the more I unpacked even like the poverty, like all the trauma from my life, the more I become anti-child. Like I really don't think that people
Me too.
The answer is we gotta restrict
I
these
am
bitches.
too.
Like I'm like,
and people are like, how can you say that? You have all these kids, and I'm like, yeah. And guess what? I suffer because of it.
I have to stop myself.
Mother.
I have to stop myself from sounding like a eugenist sometimes because I literally think that there needs to be a test, financial qualification.
Nothing wrong.
We
There's
need
nothing wrong.
the qualifications.
We
There's
need
nothing
to
wrong with
like
not having kids. There's nothing wrong with stopping at 1 or 2. There's nothing wrong with it.
we need to like all collab or something because I've been speaking on this for a minute and some people felt like I was bashing parents and I was like I am not trying to bash parents,
Well, you
but
can't do anything. You
there
can't.
are there's people that to me like that should have never had kids, and I know some people will get mad at that, but that's just the truth. For some people, they should have never, they didn't have no business having kids.
And they just continue to pop them out, and it's like, okay, well, at what point did you say to yourself, this is overwhelming?
If you truly consider yourself trauma-informed or child-centered, that is a pipeline to being, what does they call it? Antenatal, whatever. It's like, I don't even think that children should even be brought into this world unless you have very good qualifications and it's all planned out. Because you see the result of it. You see the result of children being in the system. You see the result of children growing up with trauma. You see the result of children growing up in bad homes. You see the result of children growing up in good homes, but still have to struggle through a lot of that trauma. You see it. So the answer, the ultimate answer is some of you bitches aren't qualified.
Some people just should not have kids.
No, and that's just it's the hard truth that people don't want to deal with, but it just kind of it is what it is. This whole narrative that we're just here to reproduce and everybody should have kids. I can't agree with that. I cannot agree with it at all.
I don't agree. When a woman tells me she doesn't have children, a lot of times I say, good for you, especially when she says, I don't want them. I say, good for you. You go, girl. My best friend since high school, she said, I'm not having kids. I hate kids. She never had one. And she will not date a guy with kids. If his kids are grown, that's different. She's happy to date a guy with grown children, but she wants nothing to do with children. She loves coming and buying stuff for mine. But she doesn't want any.
People out there that
Somebody said agree. Wait, hold on. Someone said agree. Adults shouldn't be advocating for children not to be in public places. What public place? What public place? If you bringing your child to a 5-star steakhouse where I'm going to dinner to pay $300 for a T-bone,
right?
Go to Applebee's, the family restaurant. I know it's a public place, but
look, Carlos, did I bring my kids to Fogo de Chao? Hell no. Hell no.
And how many kids did you actually see in there? How many kids did you see in there? You saw some infants that were with their moms, right? But like
no
little kids, because that's not a little kid friendly place.
People should know where and when they can and can't bring their kids, and that's what
I seen them at the amusement park, and I'm thinking to myself, like, you're here at an amusement park all day in the hot sun with your tiny toddler, 1-2 years old. Like, they're not gonna remember this, and this is trauma for them. This is crowded. They're waiting in lines. Half the rides they can't get on. Like, why are you bringing your kids? And they're screaming. They're screaming. And it's like, come on now, like, do better.
A quick question. I know this is maybe touchy, but like, how do y'all? Because I do speak on it. Like, how do y'all feel about people that have very, very severe mental health issues that are just having children?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I had a follower a couple of years ago. She was 20, and she had severe mental health issues. And she lived right when they banned Roe versus Wade. She ended up getting pregnant. We raised money for her to get a flight to go get termination because she had schizophrenia, and I think she said like dissociative disorder and stuff like that. And she was like, I can't have a child. I can't take care of it. She was like, and then her mother has it, so she was scared to pass it down. So after she got terminated, they would not tie her tubes here. So we had to find a list of doctors that would tie her tubes at 20.
All right, hold on, guys. Since we talk about this, I'm going to because I think this is a good topic. Unpopular opinion. You need to be tested mentally and financially before you have a child. Opinion?
Yeah.
My situation too. Well, me and my sister, we all the same. My dad, but my parents, they were married, and they ended up getting divorced or whatever in like 2007. And so, but my dad, he's had paranoid schizophrenia for a long time, and so that's the other part for me where I think
My dad is paranoid. My bio dad was paranoid schizophrenic, and he literally like tortured my siblings when they were small. And my mom was experimenting with black men at the time, and she didn't know what it was. She was only 20 when she met him. She didn't know what any of that was. He was drawing crosses on the wall, telling people he was Jesus. On Christmas Day, he told her she was pregnant with the Antichrist, and he stabbed her.
Now, can I also say on that subject you just put up, Carlos, but financially, things can change because before the fire, before all COVID and that shit, we were fine financially. And had the fire happened before COVID, we would have been fine and I would not have lost my kids. Did I make some bad choices? Yes. But financially, shit changes and we shouldn't be judging parents because shit changes.
I disagree. So when I say tested financially, yes, shit changes. I just lost $150,000 in my household. My husband lost his job, right? You need to, but like that's why I was going to say financial. When I say tested, financial literacy. So maybe you got fired, but you know the work. You have the skills to understand how to apply for a job, how to get an interview, how to use like Uber Eats. How you know how to get some money.
They need more budgeting in high school, like more tips, because I didn't learn that from my parents. That's the one thing, because my mom was such a control freak growing up. I didn't learn to budget. I didn't learn how to properly handle money. I'm just now at 42 learning that.
That's why someone was like yesterday, like, aren't you afraid your husband got laid off? Aren't you worried? No, we have the skills to make it, bitch. We both been broke with no resources, no money, no assets. I'm at a better position where I learned to, because of my previous incidents of being homeless, I will never not have some money coming in some way, whether it be book fees, whether it be even, I still get paid from the videos I did on YouTube and on reality TV. I get $200, $300 a month because my one reality show, Divorce Court, I still get checks from an episode on Divorce Court, right?
I'm learning. I didn't get taught how to do budgeting. I didn't get taught how to handle money properly. And all I got taught was when you're sad, go spend.
So I will be very clear with you guys. So I made a lot of financial decisions in the last like month and a half. I had to shut down one of my businesses. It was a rental car company because of several things. One, TSA was having a hiccup. People weren't traveling, and most of my clients were people traveling for vacation in Phoenix. Two, gas skyrocketed. So people were vacationing, but they weren't driving on their vacations. They were just getting to their locations and staying at resorts. So we saw an almost 63% decrease from last year's projections to this year. So I had to make a decision. Do I ride through and bite my tongue down and ride through this? Now, mind you, my rental cars were all paid by their guests. But if my guests didn't pay for the basic car, if I didn't make any bookings, I had to pay out of my pocket. I was looking at $3,500 a month in car payments. So I was like, do you want to bite through $3,500 a month in car payments, or do you liquidate? And I was like, let's liquidate. I liquidated all my assets. I owned one of the vehicles. I kept that one. Liquidated it, traded those in for my Tesla. Got my Tesla at a great deal. I got a great deal on it. And even the guy that I was doing the deal with, he was like, you're like the smartest person I've ever done a car deal with. I said, because I thought about this.
Financial stuff, sir.
I do. I have on my lifestyle page, I have like a whole playlist where we talk about finances and residual income. Yeah, go check out The Life of Karlos. So then, even with our car that we kept, right? Because I always say, if you own a car, like if you own a cash car, hold on to it. There's no reason to sell it, even if you don't need it. Because we both work from home. We don't need two cars. So for about a month and a half, we just had two cars. We literally did not drive that other car. My husband, we both want to drive the new car, and it drives itself. So we're going to drive this new Tesla. When my husband lost his job, I was like, all right, what can I liquidate that I really don't need right now? And I was like, I have that car just sitting there. I was able to sell that car for $10,000 cash. And then that gave me more safety net. So I told because he was trying to just rush into another position. I said, no, we liquidated that asset. I have $10,000. I can pay the basic bills for 4 months just off of that. So you now have 4 months to pick and choose and do interviews and give yourself a safety net. And then what I did with that And so you can either keep that $10,000 cash, right?
I'm glad you told me that because I got 2 cars right now, and I did not know. I was like, "What should I do with my other van?
It's an
What should
asset.
I do?"
It's an asset for a rainy day. Just leave or rent that bitch out on Toro. You already own it. Rent it out. Rent it out on Toro. Rent it to a person. Sign up a rental agreement with someone that you know who needs a car. Have them pay $300, $400 a month. You already own it. They're just renting it from you. So now my husband knows that he has 3 to 4 months to comfortably not have to force to get a job. We still have our other savings, and that's not even tapping into our savings or our rainy day. Because once I start tapping into my savings or my rainy day accounts, things have gotten hard. That means that it has been at least 6 to 12 months, and my recurring income plus the assets that I have are not going to provide. But, bitch, how the fuck are you unemployed for 12 months? You better find a job. That's how we work.
Things I don't get. Like some people, how can they stay? I get that not all jobs are great, but like I'm hiring, okay? And I got people that will come in and be like, oh, that's not gonna make me enough. Oh, I'm looking for full time, not part time. Take the job until you can get a better job.
So I was talking to my husband about that.
A safety net.
He was like, well, Carlos, when do I have? I was like, you have about to September. And he goes, what happens in September? I said, you will fucking work at McDonald's if you have to.
See, and there's still people out there that believe, okay, I can just not take the, like, I get it. If you have a safety net, yeah, be picky and choosy. But if you don't have a safety net, take the damn job.
Right. Well,
and go in with the employer and let them know, hey, I'm doing this till I find something better. They're going to treat you better, number one. Number two, they're going to respect you.
Well, so my husband has done that before. And mind you, my husband is his last position, he was a vice president of a whole housing thing with the government. So like he's looking for double 6-figure VP or president positions, like very high top. So they're very few. There's not the whole
Chris don't need no customer. Chris don't need no customer service job because the way he looked at me,
he used to work at Panera Bread.
No face-to-face customer service for Mr. Chris.
Listen, Christopher, he will turn it on in a heartbeat. He used to work at Panera Bread at the bakery. Hi, good morning. Like Chris can turn it on if you paying him. I remember when we were moving from Florida to Seattle, and he was a property manager. He already had a great job, but we needed some extra money, and I was already working and going to school. So I was like, you got to go back to Panera because we knew he would they would just hire him because he already knew everything. And he went back, and when I tell you this man, he was working at Panera Bread 5 nights a week while working 5 days a week and weekends. And then we were both donating plasma. Because if you got good blood, why can't you donate plasma? They'll give you $40 to $60. That'll give you a tank of gas, okay? We were literally doing everything that we legally could to make money. But I'm not against going back and starting at the beginning. And like you said, if you tell a person, hey, I'm just here, I'll be a great worker, but as soon as I get a real job, I'm out of here. All right, just so don't put all your belief in me.
Respect that. I would love an employee like that.
I'm gonna work hard. I need this money, but I'm overly qualified for this. Okay, I just need a check. Okay. Wait, the homophobia. Because what homophobia? Oh, people. I don't be reading chats. We don't give a fuck. Listen. We don't read chats over here because if you ain't bold enough to say it with your mouth, you ain't bold enough to be read. Okay.
Sometimes I just don't like people to hear me. That's why I comment in the chats, but
I don't really read my chats. Well, who's being homophobic up in here? What are they saying? Let me see. Let me be messy. Where are they at? Who said what?
It got deleted.
Oh, it got deleted? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
One of my moms got
but it was crazy. They
what
said
did they say?
They said that they think that gay needs to be reinstated as a mental illness or some shit like that.
Okay, great. So I 100% agree with that. Also, let's bring back fathers being the only breadwinners. And if you don't take care of your family and your family comes poor, you get shot at a firing range. Let's bring that back too.
I agree.
So basically, let's turn this country back to Gilead. Let's turn it to Gilead.
Listen, y'all know me. I'm an all in, all out type of person. If my rights are gone, everybody's rights about to be gone. I'm for that. If it's fair for everybody, if everyone's treated the same, cool.
I had a question for Tiff. So did you say that was your bio dad that had paranoid schizophrenia? Hello, can you hear me?
I don't know if Tiff, that question was for you. I don't know if you heard it.
What'd you
Yeah,
say?
I was asking you. So did you say that was your biological dad that has the paranoid schizophrenia, or did you say it
Yes,
was that?
my
Was that
biological father. Yes.
how did I was trying to ask you, like, when those situations that you were talking about, like, how did that, like, affect, your siblings and stuff? Because my dad had it too. Had it.
Well, basically, so my dad had another child when he married my three siblings' mother. She went and got him out of an institution because he was considered, back then they called him MR. She legally adopted him. So she basically raised those four kids on her own. My dad was in and out of jail, in and out of jail. He was actually in jail when I was born, and he wanted to keep me. He tried to get his family to take me, but his family was kind of like, nah, because then we would have to deal with you. Family members from Mississippi tried to come up, but back then there was no internet, email, that type of stuff. So everything was by letter or long distance. And so my adoption lingered for about, I want to say 18 months. 18 months. After I was a year old, because initially I was supposed to go live with my family in Mississippi, and I guess something happened with them. But his other kids, like, they had zero relationship with him. And then to come to find out, a few years ago, we all took a DNA test and put it on, 23andMe and Ancestry. We have another sister that is 2 months older than me. Her mom and my mom were best friends. So apparently they were, like, living all in the same house. So she was adopted out as well. The other kids, like, my brother inherited, like, and I mean, it is hereditary. Schizophrenia is a hereditary. My brother has paranoid schizophrenic on top of the fact that he has intellectual disabilities and that type of stuff. He was basically the only one that would visit with him. I talked to him on the phone, but I was kind of scared of him. You find out that, like, your dad stabs your mom when she's pregnant, with you. You want to know who he is as a person. And he sent me this really weird letter about touching himself, and then after that I was kind of like done. Like,
Yeah, because I feel
yeah.
like growing up with having a parent in that type of mind, with that state of mind, people don't talk about that enough, because that's
But I
trauma
was
in itself.
adopted. I was adopted by a mother who had severe mental issues that went untreated. And because of it, like, it did traumatize me. I mean, she went to the VA hospital and they're telling her, ma'am, you're on the spectrum. Like, they did full psychological testing on her, and now she has dementia and she's on the spectrum. So I had to live with somebody. Oh, and she's bipolar. I had to live with that, and she never got help with that growing up. And then my adopted dad left her for a man. So she was mad about
so
that
wild,
too.
Tiff. Your story is
Yeah.
so wild.
Like,
If y'all want to hear Tiff's full story, she does have an episode on Ward of the State, the podcast.
Requested you as a friend, Tiff, because I'd like to get to know you a little bit better.
Oh my gosh, when am I coming on the pod?
The podcast ain't even up yet. Give me some more. It is coming back. I did decide we are going to restart it.
you should restart it, because I would not be where I am that was the first time that I ever opened my mouth about anything. And my family was so upset. And it's like, how did you even really find his podcast? I don't know. Maybe one nosy family member went on there and was like, she on here telling everybody's business. But I let it all out on that podcast. And after I let it all out, it was like I could breathe. It was like eating Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was like eating Thanksgiving and then unzipping your pants. Like, that's how I felt after I got done with that podcast. It's like, okay, I can breathe now because I said what I needed to say and I shared my truth.
I like that. No, It's been what? I think my last episode was
I sat in pity. I
November or
sat in
September.
pity for 42 years. I sat in pity. And I didn't have to. All I had to do was talk about it, but I didn't have anybody to talk about it with that would have like, because see, Carlos will look at you when you're talking and he lets you finish and then he gives you input. But he was even like, damn, like your dad, like, wow. Like my dad, my adopted father, like he had HIV, you know, he had drug addict boyfriends. Like it was just like my life was one like tragedy after another. He had me locked up, talking about how I was using drugs, like had me doped up in the mental ward. And they were like, there's no, and back then it wasn't, oh, instant drug test. You had to wait. You had to wait for the results. The results come back and they looking like this girl ain't got no drugs in her system. We did her hair. She's never done any drugs. She didn't even have alcohol in her system. She didn't even have pot in her system. Like, what is going on? It was his boyfriend. He was like, well, she's crazy. So I was doped up for like a year of my life. And then when it was all done, the doctor's like, this is called complex post-traumatic stress disorder. He put me out the house because I was fat. You threw your daughter out onto the streets and she knew nothing about anything because I grew up in my mother was very religious, obsessed, fanatical. So imagine sending a Pentecostal raised child to a gay household where you've already been taught that this is wrong, they're gonna burn and Gehenna and you know all that stuff. Like my mind was messed up. And then I went out to the streets and got myself caught up in trafficking. I had to get my entire life together on my own. I didn't have anybody hold my hand. I was the only child. So it's not like I had a sibling to say, help me, pull me from the rap. I was gone for 2 years and nobody cared. Nobody even looked for me.
Well,
No
Tiffany, I
missing
think
persons.
that's where that's where I kind of gave you from my advice because I was in that same predicament. I was adopted, and no one knew where my adopted parents were. My birth family didn't know where I was. My adopted family didn't give a fuck. So when I was stranded, when I was left and abandoned, no one was coming. And I used to remember being like a teen, like, oh, someone's gonna have to help. And I remember just sharing like you said, sitting in self-pity and sharing and telling everyone, like, oh, I got my parents abandoned me and this, that, and the other, and I was trafficked. And everyone would look at me, they're like, oh, that's really sad. Anyway, like literally.
Yeah, that's how they do. Yeah.
So then it dawned on me that, and I was about 21 years old, and that's when it dawned on me that nobody was coming. It dawned on me that even my adopted parents weren't coming back. Because even though they had abandoned me, somewhere in the back of my brain, it was like, they won't just leave their child out on the street. Yes, the fuck they did.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
And once you get comfortable with the idea
When I
that
said
no
they
one
didn't
is
look for
coming,
me, they
then you'll
don't
be able
put
to
no
go.
missing persons report,
Nope.
nothing.
Nope.
Not calling your friends, being like, have you seen her? Is she at least okay? Is she at least... No. I got out because I had a friend that was a trans woman that happened to the one person that I can trust that helped me plot getting out of there. And we running through sand war, like on the border, near the border of Mexico, barefoot. And you know, it's hot as hell down there. That's how we got out. And she stole a bag of rugs and sold it at the Greyhound station for us to get tickets back north. When I came back, I went and knocked on my dad's door, and you know what he said to me? Oh, wow, you lost weight. You look great.
Wow.
That was his greeting. Not where have you been? What you been doing? You lost weight.
That's crazy.
You can come stay back here if you want. Because you did what I said.
That's why. Here's the reason. The one reason why also I refuse to give up is because my parents abandoned me and they called me the problem child, and it's always been my.
And then they tell your entire didn't they tell your entire family you were the problem child, you were the problem? Oh, he's a liar, he's this, he's a manipulator, he's this.
The bitch is still running her mouth saying I'm a liar. I'm like, bitch, what do I
Look,
know?
it took my family up until about a year ago to be like, wait a minute. I think Hazel is lying. Have you seen Tiff on social media? Have you seen her podcast? I'm sorry, that thing went around my whole family. And they're like, they knew, some of them knew about the abuse and they chose to do nothing about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate because a lot of times the child that's going into foster care, like they're getting blamed. Like they're the one that's, getting punished, getting blamed, being made to be out the bad person. And this is a whole child. Like, what the hell?
What have
And see, the problem with my dad is he gonna puff up his social services because he's like, I don't want her back in my house, drug her up and leave her in this state, because I was in like a state facility or whatever. And they were like, if you sign her away, you can't just come get her back when you feel like it. Like, that, right?
This is not a daycare.
Don't matter how much money you make.
It's not a daycare. What I've discovered, and then I see we have Sarah up here. Sarah, we'll let you go next. What I've discovered is that the person who's considered the black sheep or the problem child in their families was just the truth teller. They were the person that says, I'm not going to live in this facade of delusion with y'all.
100% true.
Not that they've done anything wrong. They usually probably are the nicest person, the most supportive person in the family, the one that the family always runs to when there's problems. But when you put a boundary and say, I'm no longer living this delusion, then sometimes it happens to us when we're kids. I've always been that. Even when I was a kid, that was my problem. I was a kid that wasn't a kid. I was like so advanced just because of all the trauma I've been through. You couldn't like do kid shit with me. Like you had to treat me like a little mini adult.
I had to take care of everybody's children. I had to take care of everybody's kids.
My child is getting bullied by my mom because my middle child is like me, and my mom bullies him the most because he is the truth teller. Well, all my kids are. I always taught my kids, you don't lie about nothing. There's no need to lie about anything. And he gets bullied by my mom for the same reason I did, because he won't keep family secrets.
But it's not even just like telling the truth. It is, the truth is also meaning what's right. So like, it may be not no one's lying, but they know that you're doing something wrong. So I was a kid that was going to say it. But Sarah, thank you for being patient. What would you like to add to the live?
Oh my gosh, no, of course. I think Tiffany, is that her name? Your name?
Yeah.
I was listening to your story. It's amazing. You need to write a book. Cause wow. No, so I just, not to take the conversation off of all of that, because it was really important. So I work with a large population of schizophrenic and schizoaffective patients. So the whole, like, bringing it just to the prompts, the testing mentally part of things, is something that I've, kind of thought of like, how would that be done ethically and everything. And I don't know, I don't have the answer, but I kind of just wanted your guys' take on, especially with schizophrenia, where the onset of symptoms, the average is late 20s, early 30s for women specifically. Like, what do you think that would look like in your opinion?
Let's start with the first thing. So, of course, we want to look at what's ethical. We want to do the humanistic thing, but with reality, anytime that you talk about controlling a human body anyway, or controlling their rights and wants, you're already leaving the true ethical, right? So this is not going to be a conversation of what's ethical or what's not ethical, because once you start talking about regulating human beings and what they can do, you're already outside of ethics. So you have to look at what's best for the community, what's best for your population, what's best for your country. So when you said that trying to test someone for their mental capacity, that would be unethical, I disagree. We test pilots for their mental capacity. We test
100%.
flight attendants for their mental capacity. We test therapists for their mental capacity. We test police officers, they don't do great, for their mental capacity. So there are already positions and roles that we say, hey, we won't trust another life in your hands without knowing that you're fucking mentally stable. Correct? Do we all
Right.
agree?
They do it in Denmark. I don't
So,
understand why they can't do it here. They do it
so
in
I,
Denmark.
why would we change that up when not only are pilots taking passengers' lives, this is why they call passengers on planes souls. Their souls are literally in their hands for a couple hours on a plane. Why would we test them but not test people who have souls in their hands for 18 years at least?
right.
It,
No. And I think I 110% agree with you, 1,000%. I think where I was coming from it, maybe even less so ethically, maybe legally. And I think the laws obviously should change across the board for a lot of things. But where, like, if we were going to have, we have a young couple, they're, 20 and 21, they want to have a baby. She could, have that mental health assessment, even the neuropsych exam. And she could say, oh yeah, my great grandfather had, schizoaffective disorder, but I've never shown any symptoms. They pull all of her medical stuff. She's across the board, all set. I guess I think my fear has been.
So what you're getting
Sorry.
into, what you're describing is eugenics. We're not trying to make perfect humans here. We're just trying. Is this bitch suffering from psychosis? No,
Like
if
in the
she's
moment.
not, then why would she be disapproved?
Right.
And
Okay.
it doesn't,
Okay.
if you have a mental health disorder, that doesn't mean that you can't be a parent, but they need to have supports
Right.
in place. They need to have supports
Thank
in
you.
place when these people
Yes.
leave the
Okay.
hospital. They may need somebody to check on them.
So it's not going to be a system of you can and can't have children. It's going to be, if you have
Right.
children, we're going to offer you some resources because you're not going to be able to do it by yourself.
Yeah, I agree 100% because like even like the situation like I said with my mom and my dad, like once they separated or got divorced or whatever, like I remember there was like this time where my mom, she left us like with him by ourselves, and there wasn't any other, like she didn't stay, like she went to work,
And this
and
is
like
go ahead.
it could have been a situation where it could have went left because he did have an episode, but even though I was so young, I was already used to being responsible for my siblings, and I did call her and say, hey, he's doing this, that, and the third, but I also could have not had said something and it could have went left.
But that shouldn't be your job.
No.
And that's
No, I agree with that. That
Yeah.
should
But
no.
this
and
conversation,
that's another thing that I want to protect children from, because people always say to me all the time, you have a 16 and a 17-year-old. Why aren't they babysitting your kids? Because it's not their job.
Yep.
They're kids.
Yeah.
And this is a conversation that's not new. I'm just putting it on the new lens of adoption, foster care, parenting. But the disabled community has had this conversation since they've been fighting for their rights since the beginning of the ADA, because there were laws that restricted people with disabilities and certain disabilities to not have children. And that is not ethical, and I don't believe that that's right. But there should be parameters, and there are parameters that the ADA has set up to make sure that their children get access, or at least they have a caretaker for themselves, right? Because I don't think it's right to make a child your caretaker. I don't think it's right to be a quadriplegic chick. Would we approve a quadriplegic single mother to adopt a child? No. Then why would we allow her to have one?
Right.
Yeah, and
No,
legally,
100%. And I think that's the thing.
Without now, if this quadriplegic single mother has a community and resources and a daily nurse, that changes things. That means that she has a support system. She's not going to be alone.
You guys know that couple that has the glass bones that just had the baby not too long ago? I think they named their baby Atara, but they have glass bones. They're on TikTok. And people
God, I didn't see that.
how dare they bring a life into this world, and now that
did see
baby
that.
has that disorder
I saw that.
and this and the third. But this couple has a support system. They're making bread on TikTok. They could have a nurse come over. They have family to help
They have the
them.
money for the surgeries.
They have the money for the services that they need. So there's no reason for them to not have a child. But what about the people that are literally like having their child change their diaper? Because I've seen it.
Yeah, no.
yeah, and
That
it's
should
yeah.
be. That shouldn't be a thing. Children shouldn't be caretakers for the adults.
Yeah, no,
And I think one of the things that I have seen and that is super frustrating and like just wish, I mean, maybe there is an easier answer, but like, I mean, I've been involved in cases where, you know, both parents have a severe mental issue, mental illness. And when they're on meds and they have the supports, they have a team, all of the things, a nurse, prescriber, they're taking their meds, they're amazing. Like they're independent, they're able to take really good care of their child, but then they stop taking their meds and guess what? That child, DCF comes in, that child is placed, and then
Wait, so I
sorry?
understand. So that situation we actually see a lot, specifically in Florida. And Florida made a new law and policy is specifically for rug use, right? So before in Florida, if you were recovering or if you were addicted to rugs, it was an automatic removal. But what they saw was, hey, well, these people are sober. They're actually good parents, right? So they changed this law for, what is it called? It's not foster care. Guys, it's right there. It's like where you temporarily send your kids respite. So Florida now has a new law that if you place your child with a family member or a certified respite home before you enact in whatever you might be going through, whether it be mental health issues or derugs, right? And make sure your children are in a safe place. That child can stay there until you come back and you're sober or you're in your right state of mind, and then you can continue where you left off. They've seen that has been working because 1, it creates community building. 2, it keeps kids in their communities with their families. And 3, it helps parents not be afraid to relapse or ask for help if they're having a mental health issue, right? A lot of people will try to grit their teeth through their mental health issues because they are afraid of CPS coming and taking their kids. But if they know, hey, I might need to go on a 72-hour Baker Act for the weekend, right? Then, but my kids will be safe. And even if I don't have a family member to place them with, I can place them with a state certified respite home and I get them back. Now, it's not completely flawless. They still open up, not a CPS case, but it's like a reference. They're just trying to make sure you're getting all of the help that you can get, right? So they're going to refer you to a psychotherapist. They're going to make sure you have some aftercare. But taking your kids is not going to be part of it unless you did something to you. Right. So they're pretty much trying to tell you to be proactive and get your kids into safe way before you have your issues. And I think that that's a good way to navigate.
Yeah. And I work with respites all of the time. I think the problem is some of the cases that I've seen is it's not utilized enough. So, and especially if, you know, the cases I'm thinking of, the person doesn't have, you know, it's more on the mental illness side and less on the rugs side. So they don't have the insight to say, oh, hey, I'm about to have a psychotic episode. Let me reach out for these supports and get my kid into a respite. And then, oh, guess what? The psychotic episode is happening. Now DCF has my kid. They threw the kid in a foster family. And now I'm, you know, it's a whole process. And then they solve the problem, and I'm trying to say this in like the least offensive way possible, but they solve the problem by, oh, well, I don't know if I'm ever going to see my kid again because that's what DCF is telling me, so now I'm going to get pregnant, and now we have a newborn baby, and we're supposedly doing our best to take care of this baby. Meanwhile, our other child is in the same foster home he's been in for 2 years and on the track to be adopted.
Certain states will, once one child is in state custody, they finna take every single other one. Now, some other states will allow you to collect.
Not Louisiana.
And that's not where I'm in Boston. I'm in Mass, and they don't do that.
Yeah, Louisiana does not. I know North Carolina does because I had a friend that like literally had her child.
And it could be like 20 years. It could be
16 years. I mean, it had been 16 years and she's in a totally different situation. She's married and has a house, and they straight up took her baby right out her arms. And she's like, wait a minute, like, I'm not even that person anymore. And for them, it's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You made a mistake in the past, you're going to do it again. And she's like, you know, still fighting for her baby. Her baby is like 2. And now they're like, oh, we're terminating your rights. This woman's husband makes 6 figures. She does not date the type of guys that she used to. And it's like, how can you rightfully take this woman's child when she was a teenager, when she had the first one, and a totally different person. Like, they don't even look at the person that you are now. But in Louisiana, if you have your child in custody and the new baby comes out and you don't have any drugs in your system and you have a stable home and no other kind of like problems, they'll let one child stay in care and the other one
So
stay at home. And that doesn't make
that's
sense to me
it's
because it's
no,
like,
and
why
it's
not?
crazy. Is I've literally seen like the situation that I just described, and I've seen the second baby still be born with rugs in their system, and they just open up a new DCF case, but they don't remove the child. So like it's just insane how it's so different, like state to state.
Oh no, honey. In Louisiana, if you test for even grass, they're going to at least take that child and put it with like the grandmom until you go to like a sick, because you can't go inpatient for that. You have to go to an
Right.
outpatient program and finish it and then do all this
Is
other
it
stuff.
legalized? Is it legalized in Louisiana?
No.
Oh, okay. So see, I wonder if that's we literally in Mass, we have dispensaries on every street corner. So
People
it's
don't
legal. You
see
don't
it as that as a problem, but it's like,
right.
why are you smoking while you having a baby anyways?
Well, and the crossover between THC and schizophrenia and schizoaffective psychosis, they are like best friends. So even if you have a relative, if you've never, had any symptoms, if you have a relative, because I know someone on here before talked about how it was genetic, it is. And so you could be perfectly fine and you could use that substance and that could literally trigger an onset of psychosis and you don't know. So
That
that's
is
wild.
that is scary. And you could just, I mean,
Yeah.
anybody can just go get that. Like, I don't know because I have not done that. So I'm not familiar with that. Like, my dad used to do it and he let me try it and that was the last time. So that was it for me. But I'm thinking to myself, like, why are you doing that while you're pregnant?
I mean,
Like,
yeah, 100%. But yeah, thank you guys. I will jump down so other people can talk, but I just wanted to pick your brains and thank y'all for everything that you're doing.
No, actually, I have to wrap up because I am having a meeting in 2 minutes. So thank you all for being here. I will actually do some more lives like this and just make it like more unpopular opinions, just so we can, because I think that dialogue creates change, and maybe we're just coming up with ideas, but it definitely is a way to start thinking about how we can improve a system for the children. So I appreciate everyone being here, and always shine your light. And Jessica, I know you didn't get to say something. Did you want to say something important before I let you down?
Yeah, I was actually gonna talk about how you were talking about that program where, for the respite care, I feel like that's something that could have been amazing because, like, even like with my husband and his family, that would have saved my husband a lot of trauma in foster care because my mother-in-law actually called Child Protective Services on herself so her children couldn't get removed so she can go to rehab.
That's great.
Because she had no family, she had nobody.
Like, somebody gotta help me.
And so she created a case against her own self so she could get clean because she had nobody she could have take care of her children.
That resource she definitely could have used.
And if it was for that, her children would have never been through the traumas they were in through the foster care system had she had the resource to just get clean.
I know that's right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, love. I will see you guys later.
Yes. Bye. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye.